there's too much. There's too much. Like, Gamescom is this week, and then I didn't get all the Gamescom stuff done, and now there's like Star Wars and Marvel stuff coming out. And
it's a smorgasbord.
Oh my God, there's too many things.
Disney X whatever, what the fuck is it called?
Oh, I have
D3 25
D20,
7?
yeah, something like that. Welcome back, everybody, to the Rage Select Podcast. Your Rage Select time, Jeff.
And I'm Mike.
We are not going to dilly dally because we have roughly 1 billion trailers. We have 2 podcasts.
All the trailers.
We're going to do, the normal podcast where we do like some news and some trailers and then like some fun stuff and then we take a break. We're going to do that. And then we're going to do that a second time because there's not enough time this week for questions. So,
fuck your questions. I'm just kidding.
This is the part where we normally talk about what we've been doing. Like I've been making cookies or whatever.
I've been watching trailers.
Nothing but trailers. So the only non-game trailer that we're going to talk about this week is we are recording this on Saturday, which I'm very sorry to my editors because I'm supposed to have this for them a while back. But The Mandalorian, which was something that I've been rolling my eyes about for a while, got a trailer, and hot damn does it look spicy.
It's amazing.
So I got to say that, like, when they announced this, I was just like, you guys making a Boba Fett show? Like, can you really just not come up with anything that's not just a character from Star Wars or some bullshit? Like, does everything have to be about, like, what happened in the original trilogy? But this doesn't look like that.
No.
This looks like a weird space western where some guy who's
a Mandalorian of some kind.
Yeah, who doesn't it's not Boba Fett.
No.
Like, I don't think, unless it's like a real prequel to Boba Fett.
As far as I know, it's not.
Okay. And like IG-88, and there's like a Firefly-looking ship, and Werner Herzog is in there.
There's a lot of stuff. Carl Weathers is making a stew.
Carl Weathers is there. It was so funny when Carl Weathers showed up because, like, the last time I saw Carl Weathers was in Arrested Development, where he was a gag for 3 seasons.
Yeah,
like,
he was in the last season as well, if I remember correctly.
So here's Carl Weathers talking with the Boba Fett-looking motherfucker. Jon Favreau. I didn't know that. I don't keep up with this stuff because I've got enough. There's enough in the video game industry. I don't have enough movie stuff to keep up with. But you said, and I agree, that Disney is not fucking about with this Disney Plus.
That was the thing when they announced The Mandalorian. They're like, it's going to be a TV show. I'm like, well, that sounds like it could be really cheap, but the second I saw this trailer, like, oh, they're spending money on this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Which means they're going to spend money on all the other fucking things they announced.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like
around.
Like this trailer, if you had told me this was a trailer for a movie called The Mandalorian, I would believe you. Like, it has the production value of a full-on Star Wars movie. Like, it looks like a trailer for a Star Wars movie, So in spite of myself, I'm cautiously optimistic because I've been wanting something about Star Wars that isn't about the Death Star, somebody from the original trilogy, or Jedis and the
or
Empire,
3PO or R2D2 at some point.
Right, and this looks like a weirdo space western with a bunch of people in it.
It's dirty, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah,
it's not clean like the prequels, and it's not like happy-go-lucky Jedi kind of feel of the last chunk of it.
Yeah,
this is all just like, this shit's gonna die and it's gonna be glorious.
Yep, it looks pretty rad. It looks pretty rad, and I, for once, and you know what the sad thing though is, Michael, is right before we jump into the actual game trailers, I can feel it in my bones that between now and tomorrow, when this podcast goes up, they're gonna put out a trailer for The Last Skywalker. That it's going to happen. It's probably going to happen right as soon as we're done recording this podcast.
I almost thought you were going to say The Last Starfighter because I heard that they're trying to remake The Last Starfighter.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Or make a sequel to that.
And Home Alone and all that stuff. Anyway, enough about
put them all together.
Movies. We got to talk about video games.
Home Alone with The Last Starfighter.
How many people even know what The Last Starfighter is?
Did you not watch The Last Starfighter?
Oh, fuck no. I love The Last Starfighter.
Oh, you're talking about just kids in general.
Yeah, well, I'm like, I'm like, I know that, like, Cargill and Brian Salisbury have seen The Last Starfighter a bunch of times, and I know that I watched it a bunch of times when I was a kid, but, like, does anybody nowadays, are they just like, ooh, a reboot of The Last Starfighter?
I think anyone younger than my age probably has no idea what The Last Starfighter is.
Alex Rogan's going to go protect the frontier from Zur and the Kodan Armada.
Exactly.
And he's going to leave that weird, that was that one scene where that robot was turning into him and it was like under the covers and then it was like,
Oh yeah, that's right.
And it always freaked me out when I was a kid. I was just like, oh goddamn. And
Go
then
watch The Last Starfighter, people.
there's that whole part where like
that has not aged well.
the Alex robot is trying to he goes off into space and they leave the robot behind to like do it, and he takes his head off. And his little brother sees him, and he's like, you're asleep, you're dreaming. And he's like, go back to sleep. And he's weird with his girlfriend because it's a robot.
Yeah.
Because it's like a robot with a personality that's trying to impersonate a guy.
It's so much fun.
It's such a weird movie.
I love that movie.
And there's who's the guy with the car? Centauri and Grig,
Yeah.
like,
it's been so long since I've seen that movie.
What
but
do
I
we
loved
do?
it.
We die. Yeah, great movie. Great
It's
movie.
been
Go watch
referenced
it.
a lot too.
I'm gonna go watch it tonight. All right, let's. We spent 6 minutes fucking around. We don't have time for that. So Gamescom was last week, and it was like it's like 30% of an E3, right? Like lots of stuff, lots of announcements.
Even more stuff.
Some stuff that we already know about, some stuff that we got to see a little bit more of. So the weird thing is that we're gonna do this in chronological order. So like before Gamescom started, Google had a Stadia, one of their dumb Stadia conferences, which I'm becoming less and less enamored by the minute.
I'm not excited about Stadia at all.
Like as near as I can tell, I didn't. Okay, so I'm going to be real upfront with people. I did not have time this week to sit down and watch all of these. I'm already behind on like every single thing in my life. So I didn't sit down to watch all these. I just kind of looked at recaps, and then I watched all the trailers, but I didn't watch the individual presentations. As near as I could tell, there wasn't really any new information about Stadia. There wasn't like a big bombshell, and it's out today. I mean, we already know when it's coming out. They've got the Founders Pack or whatever. It's mostly just game announcements. So we got a very brief clip of Cyberpunk, which is I'm pretty sure this has some of the same footage of the trailer that we saw at E3 this year.
Well, that's the strange thing.
Is it the E3 trailer?
It's part of it, but not all of it. Like that's the strange thing about all the Stadia ones. It's just a series of clips from other trailers.
Right. So Cyberpunk is coming to Stadia. Also, there's supposed to be the big Cyberpunk reveal. I think that's actually happening today, as of us recording this. But then they said that they're cutting it was like the 50-minute trailer, remember last year?
Oh, yeah.
But they're cutting it down to 15 minutes, so people are mad. They're like, no, I want to see the whole thing. In any case, Cyberpunk 2077 still looks great. I mean,
it still looks like it'll be fine.
I don't,
now in Stadia or whatever.
Yes, and it's actually funny because if Stadia works, I would actually. The main problem is just the fact that you've got to buy these games for $60, and that you don't own them then, and like if Stadia ever goes away, your money goes away.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're shit I like if that happens.
Like,
I know everyone's just like, well, you don't technically have to pay for them unless you want the. It's like, yeah, I get that part, but if you do, it means it's gone anyways.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter.
I mean, I guess you could always buy like if it works. What I was going to say is, if it works, it would be cool to have the Stadia version because it's going to render at the highest possible fidelity,
exactly.
right? But I guess you could always buy Cyberpunk on Stadia, and then like if it shuts down, I mean, how many sales have there been to get The Witcher 3 plus all the DLC for like $10 over the last couple years?
A lot of complete editions, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so you might just think of it that way. I still say that I have to get it in my hands to see if it works or not. Like that's my whole big
Also,
thing.
I need internet that works well enough for it.
Yeah. We got a trailer for Doom Eternal, which still looks fly as hell. I mean, I don't feel like there's a lot of information here that we don't know. I guess they do kind of nail down a little harder it seems like you're definitely going to heaven to talk to angels, and they're just as big assholes as the demons in hell.
Yeah. And you're going to murder them just as badly.
Probably just going to murder them. Oh, man. I want to do some glory kills on some Bayonetta-style angels where you get up in their face. You remember that one where you like take the guy's foot and just like shove it in his mouth?
Oh, yeah.
Like make him kick yourself in the face to death?
There's some great kills in Bayonetta.
That'd be great. That'd be great. And I was thinking of Doom 2016, like some of the stuff that you could do to the demons in Doom 2016. I haven't seen, like, they keep showing these brief glances of what must be heaven, but
Possibly.
yeah,
Like, we're still not sure on some of it, but
Yeah.
the glowing sword, I'm still very interested in.
I mean, there's a lot of you know what, I was a naysayer for Doom 2016, and it proved me a fool. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and say like I don't know about this new Doom.
I don't know. This couldn't be as doomy as the last Doom.
I mean, like we've talked a lot of shit about Bethesda over the years, but like this is id.
Yeah, it's pretty good lately.
They've been doing pretty well. I mean, I guess no, Rage was Avalanche, so
Yeah.
but yeah, Doom and I don't know.
Doom. Yeah, Doom. I'm just so excited.
Did they do Wolfenstein? Or no, was that Machine Games did Wolfenstein?
I actually don't remember.
I think it was Machine Games did Wolfenstein. They did all of those. So I think that mostly id worked. I don't even know if they did Doom. Anyway.
That's fine.
Samurai Showdown is coming to Stadia. We got, I mean, there's nothing in this that I feel like again, this is going to be the refrain for all the Google Stadia stuff is that, like, there's
It's-
not much in these trailers we haven't seen before.
Like I said, it's just a lot of trailers from other trailers.
This is kind of interesting, though, because Samurai Showdown is going to have to, stream, but also have the netcode to be able to do inputs for a fighting game? Like,
It's going to be very strange because the hardest thing about online gaming, the way that Stadia is going to do, is the lag in between inputs.
right.
And in fighting games, lag between inputs can be a
It's
massive pain in the
It's
ass.
death. You don't want that.
Exactly. And so is this going to work out? And you were going to have to also be able to play this online at the same time?
Yep.
With even more kind of lag input?
I guess the online part would be easy, right? Because it's just going to be two blades on a server talking to each other instead of like having to route to somebody else's PlayStation or whatever. I don't even know how that shit works.
It's a strange kind of thing. It's a lot of netcodes are just them guessing almost what you're about to do.
Yeah.
That's why you can just randomly die in a shooter.
Yeah.
Because you're one thing said that you died and your thing took a long time to process the fact that it said that you died.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yep. So yeah, we got Samurai Showdown and Mortal Kombat 11 is
Still
coming.
Mortal Kombat, yeah.
Yep. Looks an
Stadia.
awful lot like Mortal Kombat. Just Johnny Cage, Chronica, all that stuff. This is one that actually had some new gameplay that I don't think I'd seen before. Darksiders Genesis, which is the one that was like a prequel that not
Well, it's a twin stick shooter.
right, but it's being made by the company, the spin-off company that Joe Mad did.
Oh,
not,
okay.
not by
The
Gunfire.
main- yeah. And it's one of the other horsemen.
I think it's war and death, from what I can see, because it's real zoomed out, but there's a few places. This is definitely war, and then the
one with the guns is supposed to be one of the other specific ones.
well, it's
I can't remember
either
which
strife
one.
or death because
I think it's Strife because that was the thing. I think this is supposed to be the prequel to that Horseman, I think, or something like that.
okay,
That's what I remember hearing about it,
okay.
but I could be wrong.
All I know is that it actually looks like it plays a lot like Darksiders, but just zoomed way the fuck out.
Yeah.
All I know is that Darksiders 3 I wasn't super hot on, but then that is Strife. It's Strife and War. But then I really like this company. I like the Battle Chasers game.
Oh, okay.
I forget. Was this Nightfire or Dive Kick or it's too many game companies. God damn it!
A lot of game companies. Lots and lots of them.
Yeah, so that is Strife. Sorry. This though looks pretty cool. I don't know. I'll give it a shot. Or it looks like it could be cool. There's the trailer makes it look like a top-down shooter, or kind of Torchlight with twin stick shooting, and so it's
Well, it's probably like that Tomb Raider game that they made.
Yeah.
That was like that, and I know there's a Halo twin stick shooter they made at one point.
oh yeah,
That was very
Spartan
short.
Assault.
Yeah,
Yep.
it wasn't terrible, but it
And then
wasn't
was
great.
the Tomb Raider one the Tomb of Osiris?
Yes.
God damn, my brain is full of useless information.
That's why you do gaming websites. Though.
God help me if I ever need to know math. So let's see. There were a few other games that were confirmed. Kine, I'm not exactly sure what that is. Orcs Must Die 3 is going to be an exclusive,
That's
apparently. I never played any of the Orcs Must Die. There's
They looked fun, but I
tower
never touched them. Yeah.
defense kind of multiplayer. Windjammers 2, Destroy All Humans, Super Hot, Farming Simulator 19, Grid, Attack on Titan 2, Final Battle, which I found to be really strange.
That is weird.
Elder Scrolls Online, which I don't find to be strange, and Watch Dogs Legion.
Okay.
So I mean, I feel like when this thing launches, like the best way to play it is going to be sign up for Stadia and then get like the Uplay pass, right? And then like play some of those games that are available on Stadia to see whether the hell it works, because that'll be like a $10 investment as opposed to,
It'd be very interesting to see how this plays out.
their weirdo founder pack. So from there, we still did not start Gamescom.
Yeah.
Gamescom is still waiting to begin at this point. Instead, Microsoft had a thing. They had
Which
an
was
Inside Xbox.
Interesting.
Yeah. Lots of craziness. Lots of like weird shit. So it started, strangely enough, with PUBG.
They put a lot of money in the PUBG.
Apparently they did, which, I mean, like, you can play Fortnite on the Xbox, right? I mean,
Well, they originally had bought like the exclusive right to have PUBG on their console first, so they want to do something with it. Still, they have to make it look like their decision was smart.
yeah, but that it's out, it's done. It came out on the PlayStation at Christmas of last year.
It did, but
like,
they want to make it look like they are pioneers. Damn it,
okay,
pioneers of the battle royale genre.
You know what? I just wonder how many people are there that are left playing PUBG as opposed to something else like
Apparently
Apex
it's still
or Fortnite.
Popular in some places, but not America.
Okay.
I think it's all like China that really likes it, and parts of Korea, I think, is what I hear.
Okay.
I don't know why, but they seem to really like it.
Well, I feel like they like on like more realistic shooters. Like Apex is sci-fi and Fortnite is goofy,
Yeah.
and PUBG is like gritty and Russian.
It's got the grit and the Nathan Drake outfits.
The Russian grit. So there wasn't a lot to this. I mean, we already knew that season 4 was coming. I don't know if you were on the podcast when they had like the cinematic for that, where they were setting up like
That ice area or whatever.
No. It was like the story of why you're on the island.
Oh,
is
I had
like,
no idea that was the thing.
Yeah, where there's like this weird voiceover about like when I was a kid, the people invaded this island and I hid and they killed everybody, and when they were done, only I was left, and now I'm recreating this by bringing a bunch of people to the island. Don't you want to find out if you're the greatest? Come to my island. And I've got all these cameras set up. I'm gonna watch everybody kill each other, and it's like, why?
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, because and it was like written by somebody for realsies, like it's like a comic writer or something.
I'll have to look this up.
Yeah, it's so strange. Anyway, the biggest thing that came out of this is actually something that I feel like nobody knows about, is that they announced that at the end of October, after a beta period, PUBG is going to have crossplay between the Xbox version and the PlayStation 4 version.
That's interesting.
Which, like, remember, like, 9 months ago when, like, Sony was just in shit water all the time because they wouldn't let Fortnite.
Yeah.
Like, they were literally...
They're like, you'll pry this from our cold, dead hands.
Like, they were doing a thing where, like, if you activated Fortnite on the PlayStation 4, then, like, that account couldn't log in on the Switch or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, they
you couldn't
literally were
switch between
splitting it. And I feel like they got enough shit. And then when this question came up again, they were just like, yeah, just do it. Just do it. We don't want to do this again.
I don't want to deal with you people.
I don't want to have to be on Twitter for 4 days being like... dealing with the screaming.
I'll go back to swimming in my money.
Also, it could possibly be because, remember last year, Microsoft and Sony announced that they were teaming up to try to do some networking stuff. So it's possible that we might be moving into... It's funny because as the Epic Game Store drives a wedge between... makes PC exclusive the first time ever, a thing that's never happened before...
Yes.
Sony and Microsoft are now getting closer together to the point where I can play PUBG with my Xbox friends on my PlayStation 4. What world do we live in?
Rumor has it it's because of the Stadia.
Oh, yeah?
Stadia is like making game console guys start looking at each other go, I need your help with something.
Right.
Like in case, because if this goes like well, then we might need to like work more together on this.
We all got to team up to get Google the fuck out of here.
Yeah. The enemy of my enemy is my friend is basically the thought process.
I'm going to make that movie, and it's going to be about Google and Microsoft and Stadia and Sony and PlayStation, but it's going to be set in a high school, and all the consoles are going to be like specific high school students.
Well, it could just be Angry Birds 2, and you just change the names for some people.
Quit talking about Angry Birds 2. Nobody's seen that. Nobody even plays Angry Birds anymore.
I don't think anyone does, yeah.
What would the PlayStation be? Are they like the goth kid? They're like
They're the tech nerd.
preppy kid?
No, I think Microsoft's the jock nerd.
Okay, Microsoft's the jock nerd, and
I think
Sony's
the techie, I think is what it is.
Yeah, maybe like...
And Nintendo's the dude who just loves playing with the playground for some reason.
Like dumb guy,
Yeah.
Maybe that's the girl, like the a dumb blonde girl or something.
I made motion controls. No one cares.
Look how cute this dinosaur is. And
you can take it anywhere. Oh, God damn it.
No, Sony has to be like a preppy prep, because Google's got to be like the weird teenage Elon Musk techno
I guess that makes
guy,
sense.
and then they've all got to put their things aside.
They're moxie together.
Yeah, and then at the same time, what other hardware manufacturers are there? Ouya is just the one that they all beat up after class.
Poor Ouya.
Anyway,
OnLive died years ago, though.
We're gonna kind of go down the list of Microsoft stuff that I don't care about. I know we started with PUBG, but now we're moving on to Gears of War 5.
Yeah, Gears or whatever.
I can't tell you kind of how little I give a shit about Gears anymore. Like, it's kind of like Halo, where I just... Like, I feel like they told their story with Gears of War, and then they just kept telling their story more and more and more, and it's like, well...
What's the issue with anything that has a trilogy that has an ending that makes, like, legitimate sense? And that's what Gears of War was. The first three are an actual, like, beginning, middle, and end kind of thing. And then they're like, and then there's the kids now. It's the Muppet Babies time or whatever, and it's like, okay, cool, I guess. But I barely gave a crap about Gears of War when it came out, because a lot of people I knew were the dude bros that were really into Gears of War.
Yeah,
kind of shooed me away from it.
Yeah,
and I was like, I guess I'll just hang out with Halo again. That's all I did.
It's funny. I really didn't give a shit. I still don't give a shit. I mean, when we
I
played
like the idea of Gears of War still a lot, but I just was bad at it.
Gears of War 3 when I was at Spill, and that was like the first one that I ever played for a review.
Oh, okay.
And I was just like, this is fine, but it's not like I'm like, yeah. I don't feel about Gears the way I feel about Kerbal Space Program. Like or any of the games that I really really enjoy. Like I played Titanfall 2 for Sunday streaming. We played it all the way to the end. Like, I just don't feel the same way.
Well, I get it for like why people like it, but I just wasn't. It wasn't for me.
Yeah, So we got a Horde trailer. It looks like they're adding some new kind of like, I don't know if this is in the last game, but like class stuff, like hero powers almost to it.
Yeah, they're like ultimates for their specific characters.
Yeah,
or at least apparently
look through a wall, or
turn invisible, X-ray vision apparently.
It's fine. I mean, like, it's I don't think that this is exactly going to be my game of the year for 2019.
Well, like I said, it's more Gears for people who like Gears, and more power to you guys.
Yep.
What I find interesting is they decided to add Halo skins.
Yeah,
to it.
I was going to ask how you felt about that.
And and also they announced the Terminator thing as well again with it.
Yeah,
character pack.
I actually saw a video. I had too many videos to watch, so I couldn't watch it. But I pulled it up, and it was like 15 minutes of Sarah Connor in Horde mode in Gears of War, and I'm just like, what?
It's like, why?
What?
But sure.
Old Linda Hamilton? Man, you guys, I can't wait to play as old Linda Hamilton. Like,
that's what the kids want, is old little Linda Hamilton.
And then, apparently Halo Reach, like specifically characters from Halo Reach are going to be in there?
Yes, they're some of the Noble team, as they were called. And I laugh at the fact that one of them is the one who got headshotted in Reach in like 10 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Reach is like kind of weird with that sort of thing. But yeah, they're adding the skins of, at least the ones they've shown off, for the one that everyone wanted to be for some reason, which is the dude with the skull.
Yeah.
Like carved into his helmet. And
because he looks cool, man.
Yeah, everyone thought he was rad.
Yeah.
He dies in the raddest way, apparently. But he was, they're nice character designs, but it's just strange that they're putting them in there since Reach came out years ago.
Yeah.
It's not like Reach just came out and this is like a great tie-in. It's like, oh, we're just going to use Reach, I guess.
Or it's not like Halo 6 is about to come out and we're tying into Halo 6 the return of Reach, or like...
Yeah. Well, it doesn't make any sense because, like I said, in Reach, all those characters die.
Sure.
Like, the point of Reach is
spoiler alert
everyone
for
dies.
Halo Reach. I haven't played Halo Reach yet. Come on, man.
Spoiler, everybody dies in Reach. Everyone, including you and me. I'm a ghost. Sorry.
I'm not playing it. I ain't playing it then. I ain't playing it. Anyway, yeah, all that shit's happening in Gears of War. You know what? I just figured it out. My brain just put it together. Gears of War now feels like Madden. It feels like a sports game that like has a specific fan base that will always buy it, but that I don't feel like this game is even trying to like get new people into Gears 5. Like,
I don't think it is. Maybe
bring people back to Gears, but like I don't think there's anything in here to appeal to like somebody who has looked at all the previous Gears games and been like, nah. And they're like, but this new one looks
more fantastical, I guess. It's like, no, it's still the dude bro-ish thing possible.
Yeah.
And I think,
but it's got a lady main character, Michael.
That's the one thing I will think is really interesting about it.
Main character.
Is they decided to go full lady main character and the most dude bro-ish thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And more power to them on that one.
Yeah. With literally 3 generations of Phoenixes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Because we'll talk about that later. Anyway, so from there we got oh yeah, they talked about the Game Pass. Michael, I know that I say this every time it comes up. Hot diggity daffodil, but like Game Pass pays for itself.
It really does.
If you do not have Game Pass, you are a fool. At $5 a month, they just put Devil May Cry 5 on Game Pass.
Oh shit, yeah.
They just put Devil May Cry 5 on Game Pass. If you have the PC one, Age of Empires Definitive Edition was on there. Stellaris is on there. August 22nd, which is already passed by the time this comes out. Ape Out is on both the PC and the Xbox One.
That's neat.
And Kingdom Come Deliverance is on the Xbox One and the PC. August 27th, Bard's Tale 4 Director's Cut, which is actually August 27th is when the Bard's Tale 4 comes out on consoles, except that that's also the day that Control and Ancestors comes out, and then like at the end of the week it's Man of Medan. It's a big week next week. Stuff. August 30th, Blair Witch is going to be on the Game Pass.
I'm still amazed that's actually a thing.
The day it comes out, and then September 5th, Dead Cells, which is fun as hell. So
it's
like,
a really, really great. Just like
for the cost of one game, right?
Fuck, dude, it's amazing.
12 months, $5 a month, one game. The cost of one game, like you're getting a hell of a library, and that combined with like the backwards compatibility, combined with the fact that like the Xbox One X doesn't sound like an airplane when I play 4K games on it.
Yeah,
like,
that's nice.
I kind of coming around a little bit on this whole Xbox thing. They just need to get those exclusives, man. They just need to pull some of that. They don't need to go full epic, but they need to go a little epic and start locking some exclusives down on the Xbox One so that I've got a reason to use it, because I've been pretty close to using it. But see, the other problem that I have, Michael, which is not a problem for anybody, is that all my friends have PlayStation 4s. So when I buy a game, I like to buy it for the PS4 so I can loan it to everybody once I'm done with it.
Oh, okay.
As opposed to just having this huge Xbox library and none of my friends have Xbox Ones. So
well, yeah, because I was watching something where it was like the amount of exclusives on the Xbox One was like 11.
Yeah.
And the amount of exclusives on the PS4 was like 70 something.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, guys.
We got a Wasteland 3 trailer, which is okay.
It's Wastelandy.
I didn't play. I never really got super into Wasteland 2. This one's very like Arctic. It's like Colorado winter. I don't know. Maybe I'll try to get into this one. Like, I feel like I'm really, really picky about my tactical shooters. You know, my kind of Fallout, XCOM style shooters.
I was never very good at any of those.
Yeah. I always felt like the Wasteland 2. We played it a few times when it was in beta. And I felt like it was still just kind of a little loose, but I don't know. I mean, this trailer makes it look like a pretty solid, turn-based thing. I don't know. Maybe give it a shot at some point, but
I'm sure it'll be fun for that kind of crowd.
I mean, God only knows. entirely possible that it's going to be on Game Pass.
Probably, actually.
At this point,
Xbox is just like, I will do whatever. Just be on the Game Pass.
Yep, just put it on the Game Pass.
Here's money. Just be with us, please.
Maybe that's, you know what? That's an interesting thing. Is maybe that's what their plan is right. Instead of exclusivity for right now, they're just trying to get as many like new AAA games out on the Game Pass to give you a good reason.
It's a great idea. Like it's the Netflix model.
What would you prefer? More console exclusives or Game Pass?
Could the console exclusives be on the Game Pass?
No. Like either $60 console exclusives or $5 Game Pass with more ubiquitous games like Deliverance and Devil May Cry and things like that. Ape Out, you know.
It's a hard thing because I've had a PS4 for this mostly the entire thing.
Sure.
And a lot of my favorite games are the exclusives that are on it.
Sure.
And so, but Game Pass has been a great fucking idea of just like, ooh, this looks kind of neat, and then you'll just try it out.
It's also wonderful if you're just buying a console now.
Yes.
Like if you're because I never bought that many Xbox. Those are all my Xbox One games. Those are all my PlayStation 4 games.
If you guys could see this, he has almost three shelves worth of PlayStation games. And the Xbox is like a corner.
Oh yeah, like 1/4 of a shelf.
It's pretty. Yeah. It's actually kind of sad.
Yeah.
But I bought the old Rage box, as I've been calling it.
My old Xbox.
Yeah, I call it the old Rage box. I bought it from him after he bought the Xbox One X, and the Game Pass has been like a godsend for me.
Yeah, great way to get started. Well, if you have an Xbox, you might also consider getting some of these new controllers that they're putting out. These are. I don't know. This is like
they're fancy.
Sony did one last week where they put out some new colors, and so there's like a gray camo one, and then kind of a bluish sport blue,
which I kind of want. I'm not gonna lie, but I probably won't use it that much. So,
yeah, I don't look at my hands that much when I'm playing my games. So, I have one PlayStation controller that is colored differently than every other controller that I own is just black.
Yeah.
Like I've never been one for colored controllers. So
it depends on what it is. Like I wish I could have that Spider-Man one.
Yeah.
But I have the Star Wars one for the PS4.
And you have the Xbox One Day One controller.
I have the Day One edition controller that I had to buy an adapter for the headset.
Yeah. Okay, so from there we jumped into the actual launch of Gamescom.
Yes.
Actual honest to God Gamescom. Again, I'm going off of a GameSpot recap for this, kind of in the order, so if things are a little out of order, but man, we got to start kicking it up a notch because we got a lot left to go. Gears 5 had a story trailer. I do not understand what the fuck is going on.
I don't
in
either.
These Gears of War 5. John and I talked about the last trailer that they had at E3 that it was like her face going off to one side and other people's faces, and it's like I don't know what her thing is.
Well, the idea that I got based on some stuff I've overheard is that she's like psychic almost.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, and her brain is sometimes getting controlled in accidental ways or something.
So here's the thing.
Maybe, but I don't know. I never played 4.
At the end of Gears of War 3, they never really wrapped up like the queen of the locusts, right?
I think that's part of it, though.
And I the only thing I can think of is like, is she the daughter of the Locust Queen and like, and Papa Phoenix, Grandpapa Phoenix, the hulkiest scientist that ever.
He's like Professor Hulk, basically. The dude Brodiest scientist.
Yeah. Anyway, it's interesting the way that they've managed to make several trailers for the Gears of War 5 story campaign, and I don't understand what's happening in any of them.
All I know is they went full fucking Coltrane Pacific Rim all of a sudden.
Yeah,
so
Coltrane's got a kaiju. There's this weird snowboarding, iceboarding level. Yeah. Well, hey, good thing I have Game Pass. I swear to God, Game Pass has not sponsored this. It's just...
I'm legitimately like considering going through the entire Gears of War series to see if I like it more now. Because like I said, I haven't really played them in years.
Yeah.
But I have that ability because of Game Pass.
One is a little rough around the edges.
Well, they remastered it. So.
Yeah. No, but it's still a little rough around the edges. In any case, oh yeah. There are two more things here. One, they play Head Like a Hole during this trailer. And that song has been ruined for me because of Black Mirror.
Oh.
I don't know if you watched the last season of Black Mirror, but Miley Cyrus's episode, her pop song is like a Miley Cyrus pop version of Head Like a Hole.
Yeah.
Like it's the same music in the background.
They retweeted
also,
it and everything.
It doesn't really fit with. I mean, maybe it does, and I just don't understand what's going on in the plot. And they've just been so cagey and clever that I'm just like, what does that have to do with?
Well, here's the thing: it's Gears of War and Trent Reznor. It was going to happen.
Yeah,
that's really what it comes down to.
But like, I was there's a thing at the end that just says, "Who will you die for?" Like, or no, when the blood on your hands is your own. Who will you die for? And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? This
I
is
still
like,
don't know what that means.
It's like one of those, you either die the hero or you live long enough to, or like, it sounds pretty good, but then you think about it for 10 seconds and you're like, what?
I don't think that makes any sense to
Are you saying my grandma's an evil fucker, Christopher Nolan? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Your grandma's a villain.
Everybody who's old is evil. Batman. All right. Need for Speed had a Need for Speed Heat gameplay trailer. We talked about the Need for Speed Heat announced trailer last week. Did you watch this one?
I watched some of it, yeah.
This makes significantly more sense than what happened last time.
It really does.
So basically, it's just Need for Speed. During the day, you do kind of like light certification stuff to level up, and then at night you do these like high speed money races to get money. But then the more money you get, the more heat you get, the more heat you get, the more cops you get after you. So you've got to like make money and then take the money back to your safe house before you get busted by the cops.
Yeah.
In order to upgrade your car. Rinse, repeat, go online, do it with your friends.
Like, it's kind of neat. It's a kind of a neat idea, and if it plays out as well as it, it's saying and controls well, it could actually be a good Need for Speed game.
It's giving me a seizure looking at it. There's
That's
so many
fair.
colors and lights and bright primaries and like sparks and wet roads with red and blue flashing cop lights on them. Like, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's fine for people that are into racing games. I'm not a racer.
Here's hoping it's fine, though, because we all know what happened with the last few Need for Speed games.
Are you telling me that you didn't like Need for Speed The Run, where you had to drive all the way across America?
God, that game was bad.
In quotey fingers. All right, let's talk about stuff that actually we care more about. Little Nightmares 2 got announced. Did you ever play Little Nightmares?
No, but I saw a lot of it.
We got a lot of
on
shit.
sale right now, I think, actually, on PS4.
Yeah, we got a lot of shit when Amanda and I played it because we played it and then apparently we stopped right before it got scary, and the whole time we bitched about how it wasn't scary at all.
Oh, jeez.
And then we stopped like 5 minutes before it became scary. Seems like this one's going to be more of a co-op because you got the little kid in the yellow jacket, but then there's also this baghead kid.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of kind of creepy, weird imagery in here that I dig. I never really got back to Little Nightmares, but
yeah, as far as I know, it's on sale right now on PS4. So if anybody's listening to this at that point, I think it still will be on sale at that point.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm still pretty interested in it.
It looks pretty cool. I mean, coming out next year, it's going to be on the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, just everything.
You guys should buy it on the Switch and just hang out in a graveyard and play it and see what happens.
Why?
Got to prove Nintendo that it's durable or whatever.
All right. So we've got our decks cleared. We've talked about all this. We've faffed around, filleting Game Pass, talking shit about Stadia, doing all this stuff. Everybody, shut up! Shut up for a second. The important games are coming up. The really important games. The most important games. The Kerbal Space Program 2 is a thing.
Man, he just will not stop talking to me about Kerbal Space Program when I get here, by the way, every time.
It's funny because I'm not stupid. I know he doesn't care. But, I'm going to talk about it, and I don't feel right talking to my dog or myself about it. So I don't care if you listen to me or if you care what I'm saying. I'm just going to talk about it. I'm going to try to limit it to just 10 minutes. And
the thing is, I try to care. I try so hard, and then my eyes glaze over 10 seconds into it.
Yep.
And I'm like, I don't understand anymore.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, this is being made by a company called Star Theory. And I think Squad is going to be kind of involved. This trailer is really cool, but it's completely pre-rendered. It's not gameplay
absolutely.
at all. I've looked at a bunch of interviews with the guys at Star Theory, and apparently their big thing is they want to try to make the game more accessible, and they want to make it so that you can put it on a console and that it doesn't suck ass to play on a console.
Sorry, I started yawning.
I'm not even talking about it. It's the trailer. So
No, I like the idea a lot. Like, but everything you say about it, like the hard work it takes to do a lot of things, like, will making it more accessible make it lose that sort of edge to it, or is it a good thing? Who knows?
It's a tightrope. Like, the thing is that I was talking to you about is that I had to learn how to like dock two ships, right? And like, I had to watch a bunch of tutorials. I had to do it a bunch of times. It's hard. I'm still not very good at it. And even when you do it, it takes like 30 minutes. It's not quick. Like,
that's crazy.
You got to go real slow or else it won't work. So if there's just like a button to let you do that, then, well, that takes something away, right? Like, if instead of like having to learn how to do a gravity turn, okay, you know what? Let's back it all the way up. And I'm just going to say this real briefly and then we're going to be done. Is that part of Kerbal Space Program is learning how gravity works so that you can get away from it. Delta V is how much thrust you need to get out of a gravity well. That's all it is, right? I'm not going to go into details.
Delta V, man.
Yeah. But Delta V is a math equation, right? And like, I've kind of internalized parts of that math equation, not all of it. But like, if you don't have to learn how to calculate Delta V, like in the most basic terms, you know, okay, you got a ship, a fuel tank, and a rocket, and it won't go high enough. So you got to put more fuel in it. But now your rocket's heavier. So you have to go further. So your engine has to work harder. So you put more fuel on it, but now your engine has to work harder. So it's like, there's a weird thing where you can put more fuel on a rocket, but it doesn't do anything because you're just adding weight. So the same engine has to work just as hard, but it's not doing anything different. Okay, if you don't have to overcome that math hurdle in your head, then like, what are you doing? Like, because that's kind of what the game is about. It's about learning how to do this stuff. So I don't know, like, but I like some of the other stuff they're doing. Like, they're talking about there's going to be a whole base building thing. They're going to have multiple star systems. So instead of just having Kerbal, they're going to have multiple star systems. You can set up bases. They're also looking at having like near future tech. Where they talk about there's a type of engine where they basically just like explode nuclear bombs behind a thing to generate the thrust to get up really, really fast, right? So you're not just burning fuel, you're literally exploding nuclear energy behind you. This trailer is also beautiful.
It's a gorgeous trailer.
It's so beautiful.
And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, because it's got this like really nice song and all these Kerbals, but every so often everything is just exploding and blowing up and falling down.
Like, I love the fact that it's just like, sometimes you fuck up the landing part and the thing just falls.
At the very end, they got the Kerbals and they're looking out over this alien world, and then it's just like the entire city that they built just kind of starts falling down. So I don't know. On the other hand, I think the idea of having an architecture part to Kerbal Space Program that has the level of complexity, like how do you build a building on a like a world with higher gravity or lower gravity or in certain environments, could be very interesting as well. Again, I'm going to remain cautiously optimistic about this. Everspace 2. Speaking of space, we got an announcement for this. Did you ever play Everspace?
I did not.
Okay, so Everspace 1 was like a roguelike third-person space shooter. Everspace 2, the developers, Rockfish, really listened to the feedback from Everspace 1, and everybody liked the flying in the space combat. But the thing was, it was a series of sectors that were procedurally generated. It was like a roguelike, and you couldn't really go backwards. So the second one is basically going to take all the ship and upgrade stuff that people liked from the first one, but it's going to be a persistent world.
Oh, okay.
More like Rogue Galaxy or Freelancer or something like that.
Gotcha.
So it looks really good. Like, I like the amount of things in space in this trailer. Like big space stations and space cities and debris fields,
like a lot of giant sort of space battle looking things as well.
They were always good in the first one about letting you have these big asteroid fields to fight in, so that you could kind of use the asteroids as cover, for other ships and stuff like that. But it looks really good. Like, it takes the only thing that didn't make Everspace click for me, which was the randomization, and fixes it. So I'm down. Just give it to me.
It's exciting.
Give it to me.
We were talking about how there weren't a lot of games like this, and every now and then it keeps surprising us.
Yeah. So that'll be 2021.
Yeah.
So kind kind of wish they wouldn't have announced it until next year.
Well, they got to announce Iron Man 2020.
Oh.
That's a whole thing.
We got the Nintendo Switch trailer for The Witcher 3. This game looks like ass on the Switch. Like, if you're playing it in handheld, great. But, like, if you're playing it on your TV, like, oh, boy, it's real rough around the edges, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, all the textures have been downgraded to make this monster of a game work on the Switch.
Like, even the trailer has some frame rate drops to the middle of it. So.
Yeah. Still, I mean, I guess if you only have a Switch, you play it mostly in handheld, and you've never played The Witcher, great. But I just can't imagine this being like playing this on your TV through your Switch as being your first. It looks like the entire trailer just looks like this gets said a lot, and I think it's a bad thing that we say it because it doesn't mean very much, but it kind of looks like a PlayStation 2 game. like this actually does kind of look like a PlayStation 2 game, just like the fidelity of the faces, like a late PlayStation 2 game.
No, I got you.
Or an early PS3 game, but like definitely not this era.
Well, that's been the issue with a lot of releases on the Switch, but it's also its best thing when it comes to the handheld part of it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, on handheld, you probably wouldn't even care at that point.
No.
But the issue is that, like, the only time you should really play one of those games that's been downgraded a lot is on the handheld mode.
Right.
Like Doom, for instance.
Or
Doom,
Mortal Kombat.
Or Mortal Kombat 11. It's like it's all for the to-go part of it. Because otherwise, just buy the other ones. Is really what I'm telling you.
I mean, I guess if you only have a Switch, right, and you never had the ability, you never had any
That's
other
true.
consoles, you don't have a PC that'll play video games. Sure.
Like if you don't have a PC and you don't have an Xbox or a PS4, then fine. But if you do, you're better off buying on the PS4 and the Xbox and all that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is really what it comes down to. If you're not going to do it on the go, then it's pointless on the Switch sometimes.
This is a really weird one. Next, Humankind. Did you watch the trailer for this?
I did. And it said Sega in it, and I was like, oh boy.
It's real strange. It's like a Neanderthal playing like on a weird like electric organ in a space station full of like
I'm still not sure what's going on.
Scrolls and like beakers and stuff, and it's live action, right?
Yeah,
it's like an actual person with like prosthetics on doing this shit.
Yeah, that's an actual person. This entire thing is an actual person.
So it's really weird because what this game is it's Civilization. Like, it's a Civilization clone. And the whole thing is like, where will you take your civilization? Well, I was like, well, I don't want to have the Phantom of the Space Station Neanderthal man. Like,
it's the Encino Man sequel you've always wanted.
Right. No. No. I can wheeze my own juice. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, it looks fine as a Civilization game, but, it's just the beginning part of this trailer. Like, the end part of this trailer, I'm like, oh, okay, I get what kind of game this is now. The beginning part, I was just like, what am I looking at?
I'm still not sure what the point of that beginning trailer. Like, I still know what it is, but at the same time, that's not how a lot of those games work.
Yeah,
normally.
Yeah,
I can think it's just fucking weird.
It's very strange. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's something that we don't know.
I'm sure it gets people talking about it, though.
That'll come up later. Like, can you believe that this caveman was on a space station? All right. Well, I was excited, and now I'm going to be excited again. But this time, Michael, you can be excited with me.
Oh, yeah.
Because we got 3 Death Stranding trailers.
Yes.
Along with some tidbits and information, which we're not really going to go over. First, we're going to talk about the Bridge Baby trailer, which tell us, I mean, like, I don't know how far we can go into this because we could just smash all 3 of these together and do a 40-minute show about it.
We could, but we'll probably just talk very small about this.
There's a lot of interesting information here about the Bridge Babies and kind of referencing like they're taken from like okay, here's the thing. I was thinking about this today, and I had a question about the gameplay trailer, and I typed it into Google and I found the Death Stranding subreddit, and I realized I don't want to read the Death Stranding subreddit because I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I only want to suss out what I can suss out. And if I'm wrong, I want to be wrong. And I don't want this thing where Reddit accidentally figures out the entire plot and then you've just spoiled the game for yourself that you've been waiting for 2 years.
See, the plot is it turns out to be Hellboy 3 and Guillermo del Toro has been just fucking with you this whole time.
That's right. Anyway, the Bridge Babies seem really crazy. Like, like, I don't know. You got to like recalibrate your bridge baby every so often.
It's very weird.
It's hard to describe what's going on in this. Guillermo del Toro's like a hologram, or he's a dead guy.
Well, I think he's supposed to be a dead guy, or something.
But he's
dead man. I think is what it is.
Oh yeah, that's true. But he's talking to Sam about like what goes on with the bridge babies. You got to like recalibrate them every so often, and sometimes they just get totally fucked up and. What?
It's crazy. Like it's Kojima like stuff happening is really what it is.
I think it's one of those things where like it's gonna make sense once you're playing the game, but like out of context, it doesn't really.
Well, that's the thing about every Death Stranding trailer in existence. Is
right.
None of this makes sense out of context.
Right.
It's like watching a clip of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. None of this makes sense
out of context.
Out of context, and even in context, it probably won't make as much sense. But you'll be like, it somewhat makes sense, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
We can make some stuff. I mean, it still looks absolutely fantastic. What do we got? 2 months?
Yeah, it's not too far from here.
2 months from now?
A couple months. September, November, right?
November, I believe.
So, a few months.
3 months. So yeah, there's some talking here about bridge babies from like flatline mamas or something.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing that I'd rather not get too much into.
Which, speaking of which, we also had the mama character spotlight. So again, there's a lot kind of going on in here that's weird. There's a creepy other side baby.
It's the nega baby.
Umbilically attached to this lady, and she's like breastfeeding a ghost, and then like she can't leave because she's attached to this baby. I don't know what in the fuck is going on here. Like,
I'm sure it'll make sense in context.
Again, I'm sure that it will.
Kind of like the rain thing in Metal Gear Solid 5.
Right. The one that did make a little bit of sense was the actual gameplays. We got actual. I mean, I don't know. It's called gameplay. You know what? I actually watched Did you watch the presentation with Kojima?
I did not.
Because they said they were going to do the full gameplay reveal, and he said we're going to do it at Tokyo at TGS this year, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is wait. We're going to do a little bit of it now." And they were just like, "Yeah!" So we're probably going to get more of this at TGS, but we see it opens up with Sam sleeping with the bridge baby and then peeing. We get
a P button,
a P button. Apparently, Kojima said that no matter how you turn the camera, you're not going to be able to like turn it around to see what's going on there, and that you can even turn off peeing in case you're playing like in a place where other people are and you don't want them to see you urinating.
Oh, what's the point of that though?
But then also that like
write your name in real time.
Yeah, that like a big mushroom grows from where he pees. You got to get your shit checked out, Norman. I don't think that giant mushrooms are supposed to grow from where you are.
It's a prequel to Super Mario Brothers.
Oh my god, he doesn't pick it; he just leaves it. In any case, it seems to me, if I may be so bold, that like. I feel like we're starting to get an idea of what this game is going to be. There's going to be at least a component of it which is just traversing the world on foot.
Yeah.
Or maybe sometimes with things, and that we see him make a delivery to what's called a prepper, right? And part of it is him using the big ladder that we saw in the previous trailer to like get over rocks. I don't know if you probably aren't as crazy as I am, but there is a point in here where I paused and there were meters, and there was like a health bar, like a stamina or a food bar, a baby bar, a bar for your bridge baby, and then there was a bar for feet. You remember how I talked about all the shoes and the feet in our Death Stranding trailer talk?
Right, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that like shoes and feet and foot damage is going to be a thing. So in any case, he makes a delivery, and it's what's his face? It's Jeff Keighley's a model of Jeff Keighley. It's not actually played by Jeff Keighley.
Presenting the video game award show or whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, see down here, it's like a little like happiness icon, a smaller baby icon, and then feet. And then you've also got like some different things. There are a lot of numbers on here that I can kind of look at and be like, interesting. Apparently like the part of it is going to be you connecting like the entire world, Stranding, connecting the world by kind of walking across the world and connecting people together and getting them on the chiral network, which I had to look up. Chiral means a thing that isn't symmetrical. So if you fold one half over onto the other, they don't actually match up. That's what chiral means.
Man, I'm so fucking just excited to find out what this entire thing is. Every time we talk about this thing, I can't help but be like, this is going to be either one of the best things that's ever existed or one of the most fucking insane things that's ever existed. Or both.
It just seems really creative and interesting. So and I'm like squeezing out little drops here and there.
Like, you guys have no idea just how like energetic I just got all of a sudden thinking about this. And it's just like, oh my God, I just want it to be a thing that I can put in my hands already.
Well, the thing is that I feel like with any of us who are anybody who's like an old salt at Kojima knows that when a thing is announced is not the time to get excited.
No.
Because it's going to be a while.
It's going to be a long, long time.
And then one day you wake up and you go, oh shit, Death Stranding is going to be out in like 2.5 months. Like,
that's literally what's happening, guys.
Fuck, man.
Like, one day, like, I still remember the first time it was announced, and then there was that point where that was the trailer, which is Norman Reedus naked on a beach.
Yep.
And everyone was like, what the fuck is happening? And I just went, Kojima.
Yep. Anyway, well, you got to stop, or we'll just keep talking about this. Borderlands 3 is getting some endgame content, we found out, called Proving Grounds. Yeah. Where you race against the clock. Oh, God.
You got to race against Randy Pitchford's cocaine habit.
We got a trailer. We got a full trailer for that Disintegration game.
Yes.
That I talked to you about, which is going to be like a 4v4 kind of online first-person shooter where you have a ship, but then there's also some kind of guys down on the ground.
Well, it's like a single-player, like it has a single-player mode.
Right.
And I think some of those guys may be AI-controlled people.
Yeah.
And then there's the PvP, which is, 4-on-4. But it's like, the weird thing about it is that, like, I was reading the comments and a lot of it was people just having the same thoughts that I did, that this looks a lot like chunks of Destiny and Titanfall.
Kind of mashed together.
Just mashed into one thing.
Yeah.
And like when one of them said, is like, I legitimately thought this was something Destiny related from the way the character's designed.
Right.
And like, and there was like a joke title on the bottom called like Halo Destiny 2 Titans Reborn or something. Like Titanfall's Reborn.
Yeah.
Something ridiculous. Because it looks like a bunch of things thrown together.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in it still.
Well, it's made by one of the old Halo guys, right?
Yeah.
Like
some of the devs from Halo.
Original Halo team. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. They seem to know what they're doing. But, if we know anything about the video game industry, Michael, it's that just because you worked on a game that was critically acclaimed doesn't mean that you're brilliant.
No, exactly. It's the same thing with a lot of things. Like the whole, like the Superman creators, they made a character right after they made Superman called Jokester or some shit, and he was a guy with a giant nose who was a comedian, and we all know that failed miserably. Okay. Maybe, who knows how this will go. Yeah. It's kind of funny to me, though, that it has a comedic ending to the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's being, like, super serious, and one of the other characters walks in on him being that way.
Yeah.
So it could be fun. Like, I'm cautious about it, but I'm interested.
I feel like I want to see like, for this game, I want to see one of those, like, here's how you play Disintegration. There are two teams of 2, and you've got 3 objectives. Take your AI controlled and upgrade them with different mechs and powers, blah, 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 blah. Like, I kind of want to see one of those.
I'm interested still. See how it plays out.
Okay, for anybody who's been living under a rock, there's a game called Erica that we already played that's already out. It was one of those, like, and it's out right now. It was like a full FMV kind of weird mystery murder thing with some supernatural elements to it. It uses the touchpad the way you control everything, or a cell phone, or there's an app that you can download that you can do on your cell phone.
Oh, that's neat.
It's pretty cool. Like, you can actually kind of move stuff back and forth because they like have the video go like forward and backward to like open like a drawer or something that, which makes it feel a little bit more interactive than your usual just kind of Dragon's Lair style.
But does it have Tom Hardy?
It does not have Tom Hardy, or discount Tom Hardy. But it does have like a story beat every 5 minutes where Amanda and I, we just kept going like, all right, yawns, whoa, 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 whoa. And it's $10. And it came out last week, the day it was announced on the PlayStation.
I didn't realize it was $10.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're into stuff. It's also got this lady that looks like Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones, but
I feel like I've seen her from something. I just have no idea.
She's been in some other stuff. So, Call of Duty.
Speaking of FMV stuff, watch our Telling Lies Patreon eventually.
Yeah,
it'll come out eventually.
Yeah,
if it hasn't
it'll
already.
be tomorrow when I send out the email. Call of Duty Modern Warfare PS4 is given a 2v2 preview of their 2v2 matches.
It's an alpha.
Yeah, and it's free. So if you got PlayStation Plus, you can just download it.
That's interesting.
I downloaded it. I've really been considering. Don't be surprised if you don't see a video for it on Rage Select because, like, you know, Michael, it'd be one thing if it was like 8-on-8 and I could just be the weakest person on my team, but 2v2,
yeah,
like I'm shitty at Call of Duty, and I really don't want to be fucking somebody else's day all up and then just having them scream in my ear and rage quit. Maybe I can play with bots. Let's just see if I play with bots.
I doubt it.
Probably not. Oh my god. All right, fuck. Well. All right, we're gonna do this real fast. Nintendo had an indie announcement showcase. There wasn't a lot going on in here that we didn't already know about.
Yeah,
Skater XL is a Steam game that's kind of a spiritual successor to Skate that's coming out. Super Hot was announced and dropped on the Switch.
Oh, okay.
Hotline Miami has a collection on the Switch. Hotline Miami 1, Hotline Miami 2.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
There's a game called The Tourist, Tourist, where you play as a character, go to a place. There's a lot of mini games that you can do.
Oh, okay. That's kind of neat.
Risk of Rain 2, Torchlight 2, Eastward is really interesting looking. There's a game called Freedom Finger that's a shmup where you play as a giant hand that can grab enemy ships, and then that's how you shoot the other people.
That's interesting.
Yeah. There's an ARPG called Skellboy where you put different skeleton parts on. It kind of looks kind of fun. Earth Knight, Europa, Dungeon Defenders. The big one was that Ori and the Blind Forest is now is going to be on the Switch,
which is amazing to me.
So, like, again, here we go, the convergence, right?
Yeah.
Like, why fight when we could fleece the consumer and everybody makes money?
It's kind of interesting that this keeps happening between Microsoft and other people, really.
Yep. Let's see. And then finally, for this first part, before we take a break, we finally got the big Marvel Avengers prologue. So some actual gameplay. They showed it off at Comic-Con, but they finally announced it. Or they finally put it out in the wild.
Well, apparently this was also the thing they had at the booth at E3.
Oh, behind closed doors type of thing?
They couldn't, that people could see or whatever, but there was no footage of. Well, there was footage, but it was like really bad cell phone footage for that and for the Comic-Con one.
Yeah. I mean, it looks, again, okay, here's what I want to say. This does not look bad. It doesn't look terrible.
It looks okay.
The thing is that this is a prologue, and it's obviously a very on-rails, play as all 5 Avengers, kind of get your feet wet, you know, here's Thor, here's Iron Man.
It's the tutorial area.
Right. So, like, you know, there are plenty of online live service games that have a nice bespoke tutorial, and then when you get out into the world, it's just kind of grindy and boring.
Well, that's why everyone, like, when they showed this off, I saw a lot of comments in different areas where it's like, oh, it looks amazing, I can't wait. I'm just like, well, I need to know what it's like when there's more people, because you guys have already said this is a co-op game.
Right.
So how does this play when there's somebody else here? Especially because the parts with Iron Man and Black Widow and Hulk involve, like, this very on-rails moments, like with Iron Man chasing down these people, the Black Widow on top of Taskmaster punching the shit out of him, and the Hulk like running through this exploding area and jumping off of walls. It's like, how does that work in the multiplayer areas kind of thing? Like, is it going to be on raily for certain areas? Like,
I mean, like, can Iron Man fly?
Yeah.
And
can chase down people?
Can Black Widow fly? Because if Iron Man can fly and Black Widow can't fly, then, like, we've got a little weird of problem.
Yeah, like, and are you going to be forced to do only specific things if you're a certain Avenger, like the way the Hulk has the wall thing,
right?
Like that sort of thing. It's just, it's. I'm curious as to how this whole thing's going to play out.
Yeah, this looks really nice. Don't get me wrong. Like, it looks really nice. The problem is just that this is not like the minute. What we see here is obviously tutorial, and it's obviously very on rails. I mean, hell, throughout the entire thing, they've got an ability thing that comes up at the bottom right-hand corner where one of the slots doesn't have anything in it.
Yeah.
Where there's like a obviously like a power that's missing there, and it looks like it looks like the standard Destiny slash like Anthem L1 R1 and then an L1 R1 super that comes up. So a lot of it is going to be how repetitive is it? Is an actual mission going to be this bespoke where it moves between stuff really quickly?
Yeah.
Or is it just going to end up being like, here comes some more guys with jetpacks and laser guns. All right, I'll clear those out. You guys, do the mini boss.
Yeah, because the whole Iron Man chasing him down. Like, how does that work in a co-op sense?
Right.
Is this going to happen ever again throughout the game? Like, how does that work? It's just really my issue with it.
God, I hope it works and that all the people who don't fly just get jetpacks, because I don't see Hulk flying around with a tiny little jetpack.
That would be hysterical.
But everything else, like the production values and the graphics, Taskmaster, the voice stuff. I still get that weird Uncanny Valley thing, or it's almost like the Uncanny Valley has been triggered harder because they're close to the movie Avengers, but not quite. Like,
well, my issue is also design wise, because Thor looks like he has giant metal plates, like literal plates.
Yeah,
like on himself, and Cap's design is just not great.
It's weird.
Even his shield is different, which is even weirder.
It's got like a glowing edge on it for some reason.
It's fucking strange looking. But but they said there's gonna be alternate outfits, so maybe they'll just give me a normal Captain America outfit and I'll just use that instead.
That's like the most cynical hope I've ever heard in my life.
It kind of is, yeah.
Man, I hope they let me buy outfits that aren't as ugly as the default ones. God, I hope there's microtransactions in this game.
The thing is, that's how I kind of felt about Injustice 1's outfits for some of the characters. Same with Injustice 2.
Yeah.
But
Injustice 2 just went crazy, right? Because of the armor system. Everybody looked like a weirdo freak after a while.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, you know what? I'm not going to rescind any of my E3 comments. I'm very nervous about this. Like, it could be good. There's no reason, again, as I've said for a long time, there's no reason the live service model has to be bad.
No.
Like, it can be fine. It's just nobody's really done it yet. And Square hasn't exactly been, tickling my pickle recently with they've just been putting out a lot of remasters and blah, 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 blah.
And it took a long time for this even to get out.
Right.
They announced this game years ago, and this is the same footage they showed at 3 different places now.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see. All right. You know what? We're a little bit over time, but that was bound to happen. We are going to just run through a couple of quick stories here, and then in part 2, we're going to start with more stories. We're going to do a bunch more trailers, and then we're going to finish.
Yes.
So, this is like the end of your traditional podcast. Speaking of superheroes, Sony acquired Insomniac.
Yes.
That was announced during Gamescom. My brain just really wanted to say E3 for some reason. Gamescom. Insomniac has been doing some stuff, some of that Oculus exclusive stuff, and
apparently they're all really good.
Sunset Overdrive. And what was the other one? Sea of Solitude. You remember that little boat game?
There was another one they did, but I can't remember the name of it.
But most of their best work, I feel like, has been for Sony anyway.
Yeah, they've come out with some amazing stuff for Sony.
Infamous.
They're the ones who did Spyro originally.
Yeah.
And then they did Ratchet and Clank, and then they did Infamous, and all of those things were very, very much started on Sony.
Yep. And then Spider-Man. Which, I kind of feel like you'd have to be an idiot not to look at how well Spider-Man. Who doesn't like that Spider-Man game? Like, I've never even met anybody who's just been like, yeah, I tried that PS4 Spider-Man. I was like, nah.
The only person,
I don't like it.
The only people who hate that are people who just don't like Spider-Man. That's the only way you can hate that game.
I don't really like Spider-Man.
No, I mean, don't like him at all.
Yeah.
They think he's a terrible person or something.
Yeah.
That's the only way I could see you hating that game.
Yeah.
Period.
So, yeah, I don't know if this is like everybody, we didn't have time to go into it, but everybody's mad last week about the whole Sony Spider-Man Marvel split thing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if people are mad about this, but I kind of feel like Insomniac has been kind of Sony's boy for a while now. So
yeah, they did one thing for Xbox, and it didn't do well for them.
Even though it was great.
Yeah, which is a shame because Sunset Overdrive apparently is really good.
Well, then they put Sunset Overdrive out on the PC not too long ago.
Eventually, yeah.
And then the rest of that stuff, again, they got locked into an exclusivity deal where they were doing stuff for Oculus, but Oculus has that dumb, you can't put it on anything but an Oculus thing, and it's like, I'd be more than willing to play all of these really good-looking Insomniac games. I'm not going to buy an Oculus Rift to play them on. I have a PSVR, and if you can't put them on there, then I have got Kerbal Space Program, and I can play that instead.
Yeah, the exclusives war is very much in tow, though, so we'll see how it plays out.
Yep. You remember when we played that game Ion Maiden?
Oh, yeah.
That turned into Ion Fury after Iron Maiden sued 3D Realms over it or whatever. Stuff. Or not 3D Realms. Okay, so apparently last week, some people were on the Discord for Ion Fury, and a bunch of the devs were basically just like kind of being shitty about like trans people and gay people.
Come on,
like,
really?
Just kind of openly shitty about like, oh yeah, mental illness that makes you like chop your genitals into mutilation, and it's just like ha ha ha, low heart, and like. So they took screenshots. They got out. Of course.
That's not where I expected the story to go at all, by the way.
Of course, everybody was not unhappy. Initially, the developers said, they put out a statement saying, like, well, these are taken out of context. And so they didn't delete any of these for several days. So people went back and captured the entire context and were like, don't see anything here that seems like context to me, brah.
Context isn't any better, guys.
Also, they found out that there was a couple things in the game. These seem okay. One of them is apparently there's like a lotion that has like a, Olay, the brand Olay, that's like that, but it says "Oh gay." And then apparently there's a room that has a message that says, "Here's secret F word for gay people bag, Laura, unholy fanfare." So like,
what?
I don't know. You know what? I get the feeling that this is just one of those things where you have a very insular community of people and they don't give a fuck what anybody thinks, and they're just like, whatever, we're gonna do whatever. They're stupid enough not to do it like openly on Twitter, but they're not stupid enough to like password lock down their Discord. I don't understand why anybody. Michael, I don't understand why anybody in this world thinks that Discord, that if you do something on Discord, that it's like safe and private, because it ain't. But I'm not making any excuses for these guys. They seem like fucking high-fiving jerk-offs. And
this entire thing is just the stupidest fucking thing I've heard in a while.
Yeah.
And fuck all of anyone who has any participation in that.
Yeah.
That's just fucking ridiculous.
They put out
There's no excuse for that.
They finally put out a statement that says, we recognize these statements are insensitive and unacceptable and counterproductive to causes of equality. We unequivocally apologize both for these comments, language, as well as any pain they may have caused the gaming community, particularly women and members of the LGBTQ community. We take full responsibility for any damage that has been done to the relationships we worked so hard to build. And moving forward, they're going to institute zero tolerance policy for this type of language and all employees and contractors. Blah, 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 blah. Also, they're giving $10,000 to the Trevor Project, which is a LGBTQ like kind of organization. Yeah. I also think, though, that some of this, too, might be that thing where you hire a bunch of contractors to work on your game, and they're connecting via Discord, but they're somewhere else, and so you end up with people. You're not, like, developing, like, an office culture.
Yeah.
You just got a bunch of people on Discord, and that, like, your boss isn't spending the first thing your boss does when they come into work is not go through all 8 pages of last night's you guys chatting in your developer Discord. I mean, I can see why this stuff has happened. Again, I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying that like it was good or anything, but
what's the reaction and the fact that it took 7 days for them to like the fact that they're like, well, it's out of context, and then they're like, well, here's the context,
right?
And now they're like, well, I'm sorry we got caught is really what it comes down to. Here's a bunch of money to something.
Yeah.
Like that's the issue I really have with this, is that none of this is really heartfelt in any way.
Yep. The only defense that I would say of it is that there may be, I feel like a lot of times we live in a world where shit like this is still new. And right, like if you own a small company that's making a game and you do a lot of outsourcing contracting stuff and you use Discord to have those people connect to each other and you didn't know that this was happening and you just come into work and you're like, what the fuck? And then you're like, hey guys, what the fuck? And they're like, this is all taken out of context. And you're like, okay, this is all taken out of context, said. And then everybody's like, no. And you're like, guys, seriously. And they're like, yeah, that was our bad. And it's like, oh, fuck you guys. And then you're like, all right.
So I know how to fix this.
All right.
You guys just shut the fuck up.
Every one of you give me $1,000 right now, and I got to call Game Informer.
I can fix this. Just give me like 10 minutes and $10,000.
Which, again,
and he came back from the strippers and he's like, okay, I need another $10,000, and I can totally fix this.
Right. See, so I can see that scenario being a thing where it's like, I don't know. I think that, like, because you remember when Destiny had the Kekistani flag in one of their armors?
Oh, that's right.
Right? Because it was just like, and even that they attributed to being like just a mistake. Like they were just using like kind of like model assets they found online, and then they kind of put them together and they didn't realize what they had done.
Yeah.
Or that we've seen stuff before where like you remember when Minecraft had that thing where they were localizing it and they outsourced the localization so that when you change to different languages, you know how Minecraft has like a big saying that goes across of it?
Yeah.
And like in some country, one of them was like this really racist thing against like some of the indigenous people of that country because they had outsourced it to some company in some foreign land who was just like, well, nobody knows what I'm doing here, so blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm sure this shit happens, and I'm not making excuses. I guess I'm just saying I don't think burn the company to the ground is a solution.
No, there were moments where like stuff does happen. Like you remember the "You Are Mr. Gay" on Super Mario Galaxy's cover?
Yep.
That was a whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like stuff happens on accident. Like and sometimes it's
this is not that. This is not that.
That's the issue with it. That this is not that is really the issue with it.
Yeah.
Which is the only time I will say at least find who did it and punish them.
Right.
But like don't burn the whole company down because it's not the whole thing. But the thing is, be better about what you're doing is really the issue.
Tell you what, we're going to actually come back to this in part 2 because there's a whole story that has to do with this.
Oh,
in the meantime, I tell you what, we're not going to get into this because it's going to take too long. We're already way over time. Rise of Skywalker content is heading into Battlefront 2. If anybody's still playing it,
Battlefront 2 is still a thing.
Apparently, in September they're putting out. September they're putting out Fallujah as a playable world.
That's weird.
They also won't say what is coming because they've got all the information for Rise of Skywalker lockdown right now. But something is coming, and because remember the microtransactions, no season pass, you can play it for free. I mean, if you own Battlefront 2, you can play it. And last but not least, before we take this break, Michael, I don't know if you saw this, but apparently 15 minutes of footage that was cut from the Super Mario Brothers movie has been found. And an online group is looking to restore them to make the ultimate director's cut of the Super. And I'm talking about the Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, Dennis Hopper, 1980s crazy fuck off weird Super Mario Brothers movie.
One of the greatest weird things in existence.
Yes. So yeah, apparently a bunch of footage has surfaced after all this. That movie came out in 1993, and then after all this time, 15 additional minutes of footage has surfaced. There is, I cannot think of a single way in any world, this or any other world, where 15 minutes of anything could make that movie better or good.
It won't. But I saw the clip that's in this article because John had posted it.
Yeah,
and I was like, this adds some context to some certain sequences. Because there's that I don't remember who it was I was talking about, which is like, in what world does it exist where if the other plumbers get there first, all of a sudden they're the ones who get it, kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Like, but it gives context to that whole sequence. It's like, oh, that makes more sense and more explanation for why this would have happened, kind of thing.
Michael, that's not the part of Super Mario Brothers that is bad.
It's not the part that's bad, but it gives more context to certain sequences, which is interesting to me as someone who thinks that movie is crazy as shit.
King Toadstool got turned into a mushroom. The rocket boots, the Babam, Big Bertha, Dennis Hopper is King Koopa, making the guys into Goombas.
There's a whole if you guys have never seen the Super Mario Brothers movie,
Jesus,
you guys need to either A, never watch that movie ever, or B, watch the most insane thing that happened to video games probably ever.
Yoshi is a Jurassic Park looking dinosaur.
It's fucking crazy as shit. Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
If you ever get a chance,
the Super Scope.
I think Brian Salisbury did an episode on it.
Oh, for Junk Food Cinema?
For Junk Food Cinema. I think he did.
Yeah.
If not, I know for a fact he's talked about it immensely, about the backstory of Super Mario Brothers, the movie.
You just go on Twitter and ask him about it. He'll be more than happy to answer.
Everything he talks about it. There's apparently was supposed to be an entire stripper sequence in this movie before the producers were like, guys, this is a kids movie. Right. What the fuck is wrong with you people?
Yeah. All right, and with that, we're going to take a break. When we come back, the news train ain't over yet, man. We still got a whole other section, so...
Put on your super jump boots from Super Mario Brothers and strap in.
Just get ready to jump on in. And it's time for the Race Like podcast. I might as well have just started the podcast over at this point because there's a second podcast, basically. You got 1 hour of that. So for anybody who turns the podcast off when it comes to the questions, hey, good news for you. Double episode today.
Yeah.
And for everybody who only listens to the questions, sorry, but you're not listening to this anyway. So, all right, so we're going to do this one kind of like a more normal podcast because there was some stuff that actually happened last week that we need to talk about. A lot of this is going to be kind of developers and gamers versus systems versus whatnot. So
a lot of anger,
a lot of mad, a lot of angry stuff. I'm sure that comes as no surprise to anybody.
No.
So last week we had the story about the Apex Legends and the fucked up like loot boxes and the $270 axe, and they rolled that back. So the first story here is that Apex Legends actually came out and they apologized for doing that. There's a quote where they said, "At launch, we made a promise to players that we intend to do monetization in a way that felt fair and provided choice to players on how they spent their money and time. A core decision during development of Apex Legends was we wanted to make a world-class battle royale game in quality, depth, progression, and important for today's conversation, how we sell stuff. With the Iron Crown event, we missed the mark when we broke our promise by making Apex packs the only way to get what many consider to be the coolest skins that we've ever released." So they did that. Okay. Kind of seemed like maybe... right, sort of.
Yeah.
But then they did kind of a Reddit AMA, and
it was a whole thing.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
A whole thing.
So as that went on, I feel like whoever was running the other side of that Reddit thread. It was actually just a thread, I believe. I don't think it was an AMA.
Yeah, I think it was just. I think it was an article about them apologizing,
right?
Which is why this is much worse.
And then the comment section started, and somebody at Respawn, probably community manager, whatnot, started interacting with people in the comment section, and I've read some of them, and some of them were just like, "Hey, man, thanks," people who were being nice.
Yeah.
But then I kind of got the feeling that whoever was doing that was having a bad day, and they started to get kind of fed up with
maybe but oh god.
But then they started just kind of calling people entitled and dickheads and kind of just lashing out a little bit at some of the more negative people, which I'm not condoning it, but I could definitely understand as somebody who runs a website. I can't tell you the number of times that I've written a 3-page rebuttal to somebody's snarky 1-sentence comment and then deleted it.
Yeah, sometimes I'll get here and I was like, "What have you been up to?" He's like, "Well, I wrote this story length thing to this comment, and I'm just gonna delete this stuff."
Yeah, I used to get drunk and actually post them and then wake up and delete them. Yeah. It's sometimes hard. I feel like there's a weird thing here where somebody mentioned this briefly about how developers are kind of expected to always be professional regardless of the amount
of the situation
of negativity kind of being hurled at them.
Yeah.
And I get that. If you're a community manager, you're kind of hired to deal with internet negativity. That's your kind of your job description. Your kind of one thing is to be cool and then make sure that the company line gets put out there.
Yeah.
And if you can't be cool, then maybe you shouldn't really be doing that job.
Well, the hardest thing about it is that when this sort of first thing started, it wasn't a lot of people saying you should kill yourself,
right?
From the the get-go.
Yes.
Before it was just actual normal criticisms that you could deal with. But now it's just you're the worst person on the planet. I hope you die, and so does your entire bloodline or something. It's what the fuck, dude?
Yeah. Which we're gonna get into. There's some more about this later, but basically, yeah. And then there was this. So then the community wrote this open letter, and community, I'm mostly on your side with this. I get it. In some cases, let me back up. I'm always I'm a middle of the road kind of guy where I'm just I see both sides, which is not helpful in the internet, right?
No, it's not.
You're expected to go here, make a stand, and fight to the death.
You got to die on one of those hills. Is the issue.
So, I get it. But on the other hand, Apex Legends is a free-to-play game, and we're talking about skins.
Yeah.
You didn't pay for... And I get that, when they want $200 for the skin that you want, okay, right. in Overwatch, you pay you can get what, like 5 loot boxes a week in Overwatch, just like within a 4
easily.
hours, right?
Yeah.
No paying for it, nothing at all. Whereas here, it was like they had this thing where you could only get it with real world money. That's a problem. On the other hand, it is free, and the skins you don't have to get them, right?
No.
Like, you don't have to get them. I know that there's this thing where, like, there's a weird story about how, like, Fortnite in elementary schools, that kids will call other kids default as like an insult, because like in Fortnite it's considered like you're like the poor kid if you're just using the default skins, if you don't have the battle pass skins or whatever.
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
And I'm like, okay, right, but kids have always been dickheads, and people are assholes, and if somebody's mad at you because you don't have a hot skin for your fucking Apex Legends guy, well, fuck you. Like, I just want to play a video game. Like,
that's fucking weird.
Anyway, but on the other hand, I get it. I get $200 for a skin, and even when they reduced it and let you buy them individually, they were still pretty expensive. But okay, I'm going to read this statement from the community, and it is both.
Community is with quotes here, by the way, because this is technically like one guy.
Right. It is what it is. But, okay, let me just read it, and then I'll talk about it briefly.
Yeah.
You committed the ultimate cardinal sin. You got personal. You, as a team of professionals trying to make money, got personal. You got personal and decided to insult your player base, calling us asshats and freeloaders. Not a wise move. We won't forget this. You've set a new tone for the kind of interaction we'll be having with you. It's a cold one where there aren't any illusions about the reality of the situation. Previous notions of family are dead. We are mere consumers to you, and that is obvious. You have chosen to bring in a new era of hostility and bitterness. Well done. Great PR move. So, okay, look, man, I get that people are mad about stuff.
Yeah.
But there's also a tone in that statement about, like, I thought you were my friends. Well, they were never your friends.
Yeah.
They were never your friends. No game developer is your friend unless you know them.
No, absolutely.
They are making money, and they would like to maintain a cordial relationship with you. And I grant that this did break the cordial relationship. On the other hand, this whole thing of, like, I thought you loved me. And it's like, no, they don't love you.
This has been a series of things that actually has been happening to a lot of other companies.
Yes.
Like it actually happened here in Austin.
Yeah.
Twice, actually, because of the Draft House thing.
Oh, yes.
It was the Draft House thing. It's like, I thought you guys are cool. And it's like, they're a company, dude. Like, they don't give a fuck about you.
Yep.
And then the Rooster Teeth thing not too long ago.
Oh, I don't even know.
Well, what happened was Rooster Teeth's animation studio, a bunch of people came out saying that they have to work mega overtime a lot of times. They weren't getting paid a lot. And people were like, well, I guess they're a corporate entity now. I was like, dude, they didn't give a fuck pretty quickly. It's like they've been a corporate entity for a while now.
Yeah.
Like, they're not your friends. Like, they don't hang out with you on a weekend.
Yeah, I guess it's this weird thing where I recognize that because I've never developed any kind of parasocial. Like, I like Sony, right?
Yeah.
But I am under no illusion that Sony is my friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they want my money.
I love Spider-Man, but it's not like fucking Stan Lee was my best friend.
Right. Like, if they want my money and they make a good product, I will give them my money, and I'll be happy about it. I mean, I'm not the cold Arctic consumer that this comment makes out. Like, I get, I'm excited for Death Stranding. I want to play that game.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't think Hideo Kojima is my friend.
No, I bought all of his games.
Like
if I walked up to Hideo Kojima and was like, I played all of your games because we're friends, right? He's gonna fucking call security on me.
Right.
I'm gonna get fucking tackled.
So yeah, it's kind of weird because this also and we've got a bunch of stories about this, but this also then kind of comes back to, like, the Ooblets developer, where it was like that statement, which was tonally off, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it was supposed to be a joke, and it wasn't taken as a joke. It was one of those horrible things where if you read it in a serious tone, it comes off as really condescending, and if you read it like in a joking tone, then it's like it doesn't come off like that.
Yeah.
But you can't control what tone somebody's reading in their head. Like,
exactly.
Again, I'm sure there are comments on Rage Select that have been perfectly well-meaning, and I just read them in the meanest tone possible, and I'm like, oh yeah, well, fuck you too, where wasn't meant to be that at all.
You have to stop reading our comments, by the way. Some of you guys are kind of weird.
Yeah. I do it only a little bit, but so the idea that it's kind of weird, this whole idea that, like,
and don't accuse me of being your friend at the end of this.
well, you insulted me, and it's like, well, but Did you? Anyway.
No.
Well, in some cases, yes, because
I can be friendly towards everybody.
Well, in this case, it's weird because in some cases, yes, whoever the person was writing these comments was directly responding to a person calling them, an entitled asshat, right? Like, so I don't know. In any case, Vince Zampella again came out and had to be like. It says on Friday we gave Apex fans an update on how we were changing the Iron Crown event. Some of the team then joined a discussion with our community on Reddit, and things got to a pretty bad place. Some of our folks crossed the line with their comments. That's not how we want Respawn to be represented. I apologize to any of our fans that were offended. I will always stand behind the team here at Respawn and support them on speaking out against some of the toxic and nasty comments being directed at them, including everything from death threats to comments aimed at their family and loved ones. But we shouldn't contribute to it when we do comment and add to the very thing that we want to prevent. We need to lead by example. Last week we didn't do that, and going forward we will be better. Having an open, healthy relationship with our community is incredibly important to all of us at Respawn. And that's on Twitter. And Michael, do you know what the first response is?
What is it?
The first response on Twitter is somebody saying, "That's it? Your employees should be fired. One of your representatives crossed and cursing at a fan for what? Negative feedback / criticism and frustrations on the game, and yet you're giving him a second chance to still work there. What a joke. No wonder many people hate EA." And I actually went through these comments, and there were a lot of people that were just like, it's not enough for you to apologize. You need to fire whoever it was that made those comments. And I guess that's just a thing. I guess each individual is going to have to make I kind of think it's like you fucked up. You try to make it right, but should that person
they shouldn't have
how
to be
crushed
fired.
Should that person be? Like how much does that person deserve like your anger? I don't know. I get a real bug up my butt about I think that when people do bad things, you have to give them a chance to make good, to apologize and make good, as opposed to just saying, well, you're done and you should essentially have your career shot in the street and your house burned down.
It's the whole thing that happens with, with like other things that's, happened with bigger stars and celebrities and stuff. Whereas like, what do you actually guys want is the thing. Like, because if we fire them, it's not actually going to, you're just going to say something else. You're just gonna say like if they said, hey, we're gonna fire the people that did it, they no longer work here.
Right.
They're just gonna say, well, that doesn't really matter because you guys don't really actually care.
Right.
Is what's gonna happen. And then if they're like, well, now here's a bunch of free stuff, and they're gonna be like, well, you just gave us a bunch of free stuff because you guys fucked up. Like it's just gonna be a series of like because you did this, what you did is not genuine.
Or the real question comes, what percentage of people, right? Like, so here's one guy, it's got 283 likes, but like how many people play Apex Legends? How many people don't even know this happened? They just play an Apex Legends. They're like, man, this Iron Cross event sucks. I'm still going to play some Apex. I mean, I'm not going to, I got other skins, right?
Yeah.
I'm just not going to get any of these skins. And then they're playing the event, and then it's like, are they following fucking Vince Zampella? Like, not Respawn Games, not Apex Legends, but Vince Zampella on Twitter.
They also have a Twitter, for that matter.
Right.
Like, not all of them are like, social media YouTubers like me or you kind of thing who may or may not have one, who are following anybody for that matter. I barely use my Twitter, and
we didn't even know who it was.
Yeah.
It could have been Vince Zampella.
For all we know.
Yeah. Like,
I wonder what I'm actually very impressed is the fact that they didn't throw anybody under the bus. The fact that they're just like, look, we fucked up. And they're saying we basically, like, we fucked up and we're going to try.
Yeah.
Like, just give us that time.
You remember when THQ Nordic did that thing on 8chan?
Yeah.
Like, should they have been shut down as a company? Like, should their CEO have resigned in disgrace for making I mean, again, it's a series of gray areas, right? It depends on the mistake, right? If
they didn't shoot a fan in the street is the thing.
Right.
They didn't like get into an argument in a bar and then he murdered the fan or something. That's not what happened.
Right.
He just called them an asshat, and then you guys were like, well, you're the worst now. It's like but it's not that bad. Like, we've done so much. People have done so much worse to other people, kind of thing.
It's really a question in my mind that I don't have an answer for, which is how close of a relationship are you expected to have as a dev with your fans? And like, how close are you expected to have just like a basic press release relationship? Like, like Activision or somebody like that, or you expect it to just be like reaching out? Because like, the Ooblets guy and his wife had a really close relationship with their fans, but then that didn't work out super well, because then they felt more personally attacked because people knew who they were, they knew what their faces were. It wasn't just a faceless corporation. In any case, we can't stay here.
This is a whole argument that like no one's been able to answer.
You got to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah, this is all on your own sensibility.
Yep. But we're not quite done with developers and fans and stuff yet, because here's the opposite. So last week, John and I played a game called Dark. DARQ.
Yes.
Cool game. We did a little intro for it. Everybody liked it.
Great intro.
Go watch if you haven't seen it before. So it turns out that the developer for Dark was actually approached by Epic Games to put his game on the Epic Games Store. And before they even got into money or anything, he basically emailed Epic back and he was like, listen, I've told people that this is going to be on Steam. I will be more than happy to put this game on the Epic Games Store, but I also am wanting to release it on Steam. And Epic came back and they basically said, we don't have any interest in games that are going to be anywhere but just on our platform, so nah. And he was like, okay, well, nah. And so they went their separate ways. Well, he wrote a Medium post about all this and posted like the emails that went back and forth between him and Epic and stuff like this. And the internet loves him now.
Oh, geez.
Like, he actually put out a statement where he was like, I was not trying to be like the spokesperson for you don't like the Epic Game Store, and like, but he did put out this whole statement about how, or like he said this whole thing where he was like, I feel like my word needs to mean something when I say it about like keeping it on Steam. And so you know how people feel about the Epic Game Store. They're just like, yeah, finally somebody to stand up for all of us against,
against money.
To stand up for the underdog, Steam, against that evil corporation, Epic, and for the good guys over at Valve, who are just scrappy underdogs, who can barely put enough money together. Their uniforms are all mismatched when they go to the baseball field. And it's like, yeah, I mean, like, hey, man, great. I'm glad this guy, like, his game had enough eyes on it before it even came out. I'm glad he was able to kind of vote his conscience and make a decision. I kind of feel like this whole Epic versus Steam thing is starting to turn into this weird, like, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of back in the PS, like the early PS3, Xbox 360 days. And I feel like this is kind of settled down with a lot of people that I know, but back when people were really invested in like I'm an Xbox guy, fuck Sony, like
that was a whole thing for a while.
Like that's what it feels like, is that people have gotten this into like such an identity thing. And it's weird to me because people are just like, rah, rah, Steam. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Steam has been garbage for years. It's still garbage. Like, it's bad. It's a bad storefront. It's a bad app. The app is poor. It is a poor application. Not that Epic is great. Epic sucks too. But, like, at least now they can force each other to get better instead of just having Steam, like, languish in the shit bath of money for years and never have to do a single thing.
It's a console war in PC, which was never really a thing until now.
It's a console war on one console,
which is crazy as shit to me. It's kind of amazing. And yeah, console wars haven't really been as much as the things it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo are like gradually moving closer to each other. Meanwhile, the PC is splitting into weird factions here and there and everywhere.
The PC master race is now fighting each other to the death in a civil war.
Yeah.
It's fucking interesting. Yeah. It's fascinating.
Actually, no, what's funny is because I don't feel like they're fighting each other. It's become this weird thing like the Apex thing where it's like fans fighting devs. Is that the fans feel betrayed by Gearbox when they put Borderlands 3 as an Epic Game Store exclusive.
I thought Randy Pritchard was my friend. No, he's no one's friend.
And they feel like they aren't being listened to, right? Because some developers will say, well, we're going to put the game out on Steam, and then suddenly it's like, JK, only Epic Game Store, and the more high profile. I mean, Control is Epic. That's coming out next week. That's a huge game. So I feel like it goes back to that weird thing about how like a lot of people on the internet, I think, feel like they have more of a voice than they used to, but they're just not being listened to at all.
Yeah.
And so that makes frustration happen when you're like, but I don't like it. and then the companies ignore you, and you're like, but I don't like. Did you hear me? And like. And the companies are like, yes, we hear you. We don't care. We're money. Money is what we care about.
Pile of money in the corner.
You're a mouth attached to a stack of dollar bills, and if the dollar bills don't come in, then the mouth doesn't matter. We don't give a shit. In a lot of cases, we know from past experience that you're going to flap your lips all day long and then totally go buy, the Ooblets when it comes out on Epic Games Store.
Or you're going to flap your mouth and then like 10 more people are going to buy it.
Right.
Like it doesn't, like you specifically in this instance really don't matter in the long run.
And I don't want that to seem like, I don't want to seem like I'm dumping on anybody.
No, I don't want to make it seem like that too. But that's how a company thinks.
Yeah, I have no power either. Like I'm not saying that like you have no power, but I have no power either. Is that companies make these decisions based on money. That's why they're going to the Epic Games Store. Like that's why I find it hard to kind of like, look, you got to be really special for somebody like Epic to walk up with the dump truck of money and be like, how much do you want?
Yeah.
And you're like, nothing. My values are too important. I'd rather roll the dice on Steam and hope that I don't get buried in a bunch of hentai games and asset flips, and that hopefully enough people buy so that even though I'm getting a lower split, even though Valve is taking more of my money, I will make a profit.
Yeah.
As opposed to you who want to give me money to finish the development up front and then also guarantee a certain number of sales. Like,
and just give me more money in general.
That is the sweetheart deal of the century. And for an indie dev, even a dev like Remedy, right? Like even like with Control or even Gearbox. I mean, what company doesn't want to guarantee they're going to make money? Like you could roll the dice on Steam, but you guys got to remember that Steam still takes more money than the Epic Games Store. Yeah. So like you make a game, you make it for money. Like some people make games for passion, but most places are making games to make money. And like you make the art, but you make the art to make the money. And if Epic comes in and they're like, we guarantee you X amount of money.
Like you will break even minimum.
Or you can roll the dice on Steam and who knows, maybe it gets review bombed because somebody said something that somebody doesn't like in Act 3 of your game, and suddenly there's a flame war in the thumbs up, thumbs down, and it gets buried under the recommendation and we're not getting it to the front page. So I understand that devs do this, and I also understand that it's very frustrating for people. I only just hope that, okay, tell you what, we've got another story about this,
okay,
right? That's actually kind of a medium, right? Not super good, not super bad, but medium.
Okay.
So during Gamescom, one of the things that happened was that during the opening live show, there was a sizzle reel for the Epic Games Store. And one of the games that was on there was Oddworld Soulstorm, which is the remake of Oddworld, where I think it's the second one, where Lorne Lanning, I believe, is trying to make the game that he wanted to make, even though he couldn't get the money when it was back on PlayStation, right? Okay, this game had not previously been announced as an Epic Games Store exclusive, so it was kind of just in there. And so Lorne Lanning posted a message on Twitter where he basically just said like, hey, listen, we're doing this. We kind of ran out of investment capital, and Epic is willing to give us the money that we feel we need to make the game that we feel you want.
Yeah.
So please bear with us. Please don't fucking kneecap us on social media.
We're trying here, guys.
Yeah, and that like, look, I need more money to make this the good game that you want, and I'm not going to be getting that from Steam. Steam doesn't give people money. Epic does give people money, so that's what we're doing. And it's kind of been more well received than a lot of the other Epic Game Store stuff of being like, well, you explained yourself and you were very classy about it, apparently was one of the things that people said. So.
Well, one of the things is they outright are saying, look, the game literally will not exist, is basically what they're saying. Is like, because they don't feel like they would make what they want, and then that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
So artistically speaking, this is also them fighting for that too.
Right.
So, and I think that's I think it's a good thing that people are receiving it well, because if they didn't receive that well, then damn, it would have been really hard to receive anything else.
Well, it's just okay. Listen, it's like we said last week. I don't think no matter how much you hate them on Twitter, I don't think the Epic Game Store is going away.
No.
Like people do not they're not able to conceive the amount of money that Fortnite is making Epic. Like they're making so much goddamn money off of Fortnite that they can afford to do this. All they've done is buy their way into a console war on the PC.
Yeah.
In a year. It hasn't even been that long.
Yeah, that's
like like, it has not been that long, and they've just been snapping. I mean, it's just money. That's what they've been doing, is
exactly
paying their way into it. It's kind of like when Microsoft first started, right? They just wanted to be in the console business, and they kind of bought their way into it.
Yeah, they just bought a bunch of studios. Like, Halo was supposed to be a Mac game.
Yep.
And then it turned into a shooter. Like, a whole bunch of things changed because of
Bungie was known for Marathon, which was a Mac only FPS. So yeah, it's been interesting that this has been happening. I don't think that no matter how mad you get at either the developers or the company. See, that's the other problem, Michael, is that because Epic has enough money to essentially guarantee these devs a break-even point, or a certain number of sales where they'll just pay whatever they don't make.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of nullifies whatever you say.
It really does.
Right? Like, because I'm not going to buy it. We don't even need you. Like, it's almost weird because it's like, when you get bought by the Epic Game Store, you don't even need customers anymore.
You don't.
Like, you're just going to be on there, and then they're going to pay you regardless of what happens with sales, because they're not interested in sales. They're interested in building a base, and they're just snapping up as many things as they can. So it's almost like no matter how mad you get at them, well, the money faucet, you know what you need to do if you want to stop Epic is figure out how to make kids stop playing Fortnite.
That's the only way you could do that.
Which I don't know how you're going to do that.
It's not going. You have to murder Ninja
right.
and every other person who plays it on Twitch or something.
Well, you need to go around the country and systematically kill like 14-year-olds everywhere. You need like an Egyptian plague to stop Epic Game Store.
It's not happening. Like, Epic Game Store pulled the fucking Watchmen ending where everyone's like, we're not going to let you do that. It's like, motherfucker, I did it like half an hour ago.
Yeah.
It's like, we're making all the money in the world. Yeah. Like, no one cares.
And again, I want to make this 100% clear. I am not pro Epic Game Store. I am pro competition with Steam.
Yes.
But I think the Epic Game Store sucks. It's hard to navigate. It doesn't have a shopping cart. You can't buy stuff in countries. It doesn't have any of the stuff. It should have had all of that by now.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
I'm still like pro indie dev really when it comes to the decisions a lot of them are making too.
Yeah.
Because they worked really hard to get to that point.
Yeah.
And you just saying, I don't like the Epic Game Store is going to stop them from making the money from what they worked really hard to get to.
Also, I mean,
I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
How many indie developers over the years have put their game out on Steam and then it didn't go anywhere because Steam is choked with garbage?
Yeah.
Like,
and then somebody steals the idea of whatever they did.
It got buried.
And then it got amazing or something.
Yeah, and nobody ever fucking heard of it, except unless you get like a write-up on Rock, Paper, Shotgun, or it's on the dojo for some reason.
Yeah, some YouTuber found your game like years later, and now all of a sudden everyone's buying it.
Right.
Like, that still happens even now, but the problem with it is that Steam makes that really hard for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And if Epic is going to be like, look, we're just going to help you here, it's hard to say no to that.
Especially, and
it's not a deal with the devil kind of thing either, because no one really loses in that situation except for the one guy who's screaming in the corner.
Yeah. We have to move off this topic, but
sorry, yeah.
No, that's all right. But then the last thing I want to say is, like, I still want to point out that Steam, last year, straight up allows porno games on their website, and they are always on the front page because of course they're popular, and like half of them are just like match 3 puzzle with the hentai picture behind it, and it's like, oh my god, no, I'm looking for video games, not pornography. Like, anyway, let's move on. We're actually going to cut a few things here. People are mad at Riot. GameStop is slowly dying.
Yes.
They laid off a bunch of the people from Game Informer last week, the editors and staff of Game Informer, and some people at their corporate headquarters, which came after, I think it was in January they laid off a bunch of people. Their whole make it into a toy store definitely hasn't worked. I haven't been to a GameStop in years because they closed the one that was close to my house.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. There's one close to my apartment that I go to every now and then, and yeah, it's more like a toy, like a half toy store now, even more so. Like this all statues and these action figures, and I never see anyone buy any of them, by the way.
Yeah,
and they're their shirt section got smaller too, kind of thing, and most of them end up in clearance anyways.
I kind of feel like GameStop thought they could fight the digital distribution future, like they thought they could win in a fight against that, and that no.
Well, they it's funny because one of my coworkers, he used to be a manager a GameStop manager years ago, and every now and then he'll update me on what's going on to GameStop, because since he worked for GameStop, he knows full well the horrendousness of working for GameStop.
Yeah.
And so what happens is every now and then he'll message me. He's like, "Hey, Mike, guess what?" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "GameStop stock is like $3 right now." And I'm like, "What?" It's like, "Yeah, like every now and then he'll be like, yeah, like I remember the first time it happened. He's like, "Yeah, their stock dropped to like $10 a share," and then like by the end of it, he's like, "Yeah, dude, they're at like $3 a share. This shit is just tanking as hard as it can."
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be that. Well, plus the thing is that, it used to be if a game is weird, I usually buy it digitally, and if it's not, Best Buy has it.
Yeah.
Walmart has it. Target has it. I don't have to go to a specialty store to buy fucking Control, right? Like Best Buy is going to have Control. Walk into Best Buy, one Control, please. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
They
or
are having Best Buy
Amazon,
like the limit of physical isn't really a thing anymore.
No,
like it's no longer like, oh, I want this Japanese RPG, but only there's going to be like 2 of them somewhere.
Yeah,
it's no longer an issue. Amazon has like a warehouse full of them now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if I really want it, I can just do that.
If you want physical media, you can get off of Amazon. If you don't, you could just download it.
And their trade-ins, and like if I trade in that same game, they're going to sell it for like $5 less. That's the thing. The used game thing doesn't make any sense anymore,
right? Because
they sell it for $5 less, where Amazon's going to sell it for $10 less, and I'm going to get it like the next day,
and it'll be new,
and I don't have to leave my fucking house at any point,
and you don't have to say no 3 times to being asked if you want to buy a warranty and a strategy guide and like a pre-order
or a
membership to Game Informer,
get a magazine
that doesn't anyway. So, all right, let's do some trailers because we got a shit ton more. We're gonna have to go quick because we're already Michael's got to go somewhere, and it's gotta go.
Gotta have fun. Gotta go fast.
Mortal Kombat 11. We got a full roster of the Game Pass. We already knew about Nightwolf and Sindel and Shang Tsung, who's already out, and Nightwolf's already out. But we are also getting Spawn.
Yes, the 90s is going full effect with Spawn.
God, why won't he just go away?
And he has a cape.
I hate Spawn so much. I used to read Spawn, and over the years, it's gotten to the thing where people love Spawn so much that I'm just like, fuck Spawn.
I still don't know why people like Spawn, to be honest.
He's a bad design, bad character. Alan Moore wrote like a Sam and Twitch spinoff of the 2 detectives out of the Spawn comics. That's really, really good.
I did not know that.
Actually, it might not be Alan Moore, but it was somebody good, like who wrote the Sam and Twitch spinoff. But like, the Violator. You guys remember what the Violator looked like?
Yeah.
You remember how Todd McFarlane can't really draw comics worth of shit?
That's the thing. I've never actually met anyone who actually reads Spawn comics.
Yeah.
But Spawn apparently is still very popular.
There was a Cerebus crossover. Ooh, that's aged well.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Dave Sim, crazy misogynist.
That was a whole thing.
And then there's Angela's like the only good thing that came out of it because she's now related to Thor.
Yeah, the creator.
Because it was Neil Gaiman made.
Yeah.
And there was like 10 years of litigation between Todd
McFarlane tooth and nail to get this character.
Yeah.
And then was like, as a fuck you, sold her to Marvel.
Right.
Right. Yeah, now she's Thor's sister. And it's like, what's happening?
Yeah. But that's all right, because like Grifter's part of the DC universe or
Grifter's
something.
And Conan's in the Marvel universe again, so that's interesting.
Anyway, Spawn is here. Yeah, let's not get off on a comic tangent.
Yes.
Spawn, and then we've got the weirdest Joker. I don't know who this Joker's supposed to be, because he's not even as edgy as the Injustice Joker.
Well, the Injustice Joker was like mega Hot Topic Joker.
Right.
And this Joker seems like...
he looks like PETA from the Hunger Games with Joker makeup on.
Actually, yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
He's just got this like fat face, and he's just kind of like a normal looking person. Like he doesn't have any
makeup,
elongated features. I guess it's because the NetherRealm engine is so realistic that they just had to do like mocap on somebody, and they didn't pick anybody especially interesting looking to do it on.
I do like his outfit more than I do the Injustice 2 one, though.
Well, yeah, Injustice 2 was all...
I hated that Joker.
Hot Topic Joker.
He sucked so much.
Not as bad as Suicide Squad Joker.
No, not nearly as bad as Suicide Squad Joker.
I just kind of was curious why they didn't get Joaquin Phoenix to come in and do a face scan and then just have somebody else animate it, right?
That would be interesting.
But that would be really weird, having this like super Martin Scorsese realistic Joker like tearing people's faces off as a fatality, because this is Mortal Kombat. Like,
the other thing is you'd have to try to convince Joaquin Phoenix to do the voice, because it's obvious that the voice they're using is the same as the Injustice one.
Right.
And MK versus DC, that's been the same voice the whole time. But like, and it would be really weird.
It would be really weird.
It's the same thing with the Luke Cage thing in Halo 5.
But last and certainly not least, the Terminator is everything's Terminator now.
Yeah,
everything's Terminator, and it's old Arnold Terminator
from the new movie.
Yeah,
everyone in their grandmother's games have Terminator in it, and it's kind of interesting.
This is a weaker lineup than I would have expected.
It's an interesting lineup because Nightwolf is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Shang Tsung's pretty cool.
Yep,
Sindel I could care less about, but people do like it.
I like Sindel. She's a bitch.
For some fucking reason, people have been asking for Spawn since MK9.
Okay.
Which is, like I said, fucking weird because I've never met an actual Spawn fan.
Yeah.
And Joker is just odd because for some reason they keep wanting to add DC characters to that and then Mortal Kombat characters to Injustice.
Well, see, I get it because of the crossovers. I can imagine taking Joker makes sense to me because that's taking a character from Injustice and putting it into Mortal Kombat the same way that Sub-Zero and Raiden were in Injustice. The thing is that, in MK9 it was Alien and Predator and like Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
Like they were kind of pairs that made sense, whereas Spawn and the Terminator don't have anything in common.
Well, the thing is that with Terminator it makes some sense because it continues that horror-ish kind of thing. But yeah, Spawn is just...
You know who it should have been?
Huh?
RoboCop.
Well,
RoboCop versus Terminator.
That's what I've been saying for a while, actually. But you never know. They might do it because the MKX had 2 packs.
Yeah,
2 combat packs, and one of them had Predator, and then the other one had Alien.
Oh, okay.
So you never know. Maybe
maybe
get
so.
him. I want RoboCop to be because I want a RoboCop versus Terminator.
So who would be the other one for Spawn? Would it be like Violator? Is in the Combat Pack 2?
That would be amazing.
Like weird, anatomically can't walk, spindle arms and legs with the big triangle body Violator?
No, it's going to be the John Leguizamo clown. And it's just going to only be that, and his fatality will be like actually violent. Like, you know what? That would be actually. You know what? I joke, but I would love to do that for that to be a thing.
Well, I don't.
Just to see John Leguizamo's face mo-capped on a fat clown.
Nope. I don't want to see it. All right. Next up, Streets of Rage 4. Oh, by the way, I should say that. I'm still eventually going to get the combat pack. Like, Mortal Kombat 11 is fun to play, so I don't give a shit who it is, but
it's pretty great. And Arnold comes out in October.
Oh, okay.
So he comes out faster than the other 2.
Is everybody else already out?
The first 2 are out. They announced the dates on that pack, and Spawn is the last one to come out in like March for some reason.
What?
It's very strange.
So long.
Yeah, it's like a long time from now.
They need that long to animate his cape. It takes a while.
That's probably what actually is.
Capes and chains everywhere.
It's just they have to get Todd McFarlane to do shit. I don't know. It's the whole thing.
We got a Streets of Rage 4 trailer for, I believe, a new character called Cherry Hunter, which we already had seen Axel and Blaze. This just looks incredible. Like, this game looks incredible.
It looks fun.
It's so well animated, and I know you're a fan of beat-em-ups.
Yes,
so.
I'm a big fan of beat-em-ups, but I never actually really played the original Streets of Rage games.
Oh, man, that was my jam. Streets of Rage 2 on the Genesis. Yeah, it was one of those console exclusives that I couldn't wait to play.
Yeah, that was the reason I wasn't able to play it because I didn't have a Genesis growing up.
And then we've got one more character that hasn't yet been revealed. So
it's probably Spawn.
It's probably Spawn or Terminator. It's probably Terminator.
Yeah,
Terminator's in everything, right?
It's a Terminator Spawn.
Maybe Linda Hamilton is the Combat Pack 2.
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised.
Or maybe they want to see how well the movie does. And then they're going to put whatever that new weirdo
the Terminator,
the new Terminator,
cyborg lady or whatever
that like duplicates himself.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
From there, we got an answer to the question that we've been having for a long time. How do you make a One Punch Man fighting game? And the answer is that you don't play as Saitama. Apparently, like, the whole conceit of the game is that you have to survive until Saitama gets there. So there's like a little picture-in-picture in this game of Saitama running towards the battle that you're having in the kind of Naruto Dragon Jump Force.
It's kind of amazing.
Kind of game. And then the more damage you do, it doesn't seem like you're actually doing very much hit point damage at all, but the more damage you do, it actually lowers the timer for Saitama to get there, and then when he gets there, he does one punch and then they die.
Yeah, and every time they attack him, it does nothing.
Right. He just stands there, they don't do anything, and then eventually he just does one punch and they die.
It's fascinating.
It's a really interesting way to do that. I kind of can't wait for this game. I kind of think that's a really creative way to at least do something. It's funny how they're using season 1 One Punch Man. So the heroes, we all know a lot of the heroes, but like some of the enemies, it's like the Dragon Ball guy from the very first game. This got little doodly bobbers. And then like it says Mosquito Girl because that character never had a name.
Yeah, some of them weren't given names before it exploded, basically.
Yeah, and then we got some new characters that are going to be in the game. We're getting Terrible Tornado. We're getting who else? Atomic Samurai. No, I don't think we've seen. We were discussing this before, but I don't think we've seen Peri Peri Prisoner.
No, I don't think that's gonna happen.
But
as much as I'd want it to.
Silver Fang. What about Tank Top Master, Tank Top Hero, or whatever his name is?
Oh, that one.
Because there's like 80 of those guys.
There's a lot of guys. I wonder if King's going to be in it at any point.
I don't think King ever. Well,
that's the thing. Well,
yeah, no,
if we explain why,
yeah.
But that's why I think the idea of it would be fun.
I think so too. I wonder if the crab guy is going to be one of the enemies.
Oh yeah,
the one that he fights at the very beginning.
The guy who started the whole thing.
Yeah. All right. From there, we got a Day in the Life of Shenmue trailer.
Okay. Here's what I have to say about this trailer.
You'd say everything.
It is very impressive to me that they can still have bad type voice acting and still let it be good.
I'm still very confused at the faces. They all look real weird to me. They just have a very, especially the main guy. Like some of the faces look good. And you know the thing that I find
his face is still very much his Dreamcast face. Yeah, and that's what's surprising. And his voice is still like what would come out of a Dreamcast.
What I find really fascinating about this trailer, though, Michael, is this little thing in the bottom left-hand corner. I don't know if you saw this when you were watching this.
I did not.
It says, go away, work in progress, game not final. Like, this game comes out in, like, November.
That's pretty soon.
Supposed to come out. Like, this should be completed by now. Like,
yeah, it should be gold, like, minimum next month kind of thing.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not a Shenmue guy, so this just seems like a weird game to me.
It just looks like more Shenmue, but in the best possible way, whereas it feels like this is just a Dreamcast game that was updated.
There was a guy, it was either Jim Sterling or one of the guys from Watch Out for Fireballs who said this, who was like, why would you ever play Shenmue when the Yakuza franchise exists?
That's the thing.
And I know that some people want to see the end of this story, and I appreciate that, right? Like if the part 2 ended with a cliffhanger, and you've been waiting 10 years to find out what happens, whether a guy ever gets revenge for his dad or whatever, like great.
Well, that's the thing is like the guy who made these had this incredible vision of like an idea of a game that spans these that. Like, it was like a Mass Effect idea that he had.
Right.
He's like, every choice you make is going to matter as it progresses. And he never got to that point.
Yeah.
And then somebody really, like, saw this sort of idea of,
Sega,
like, mundane things.
Like, they published
exactly
the original.
Like, they tried to help him twice. Like, they really did try to make this a thing. Because it was a Dreamcast and an Xbox game. And there is an audience. And Sony saw that audience and was like, well, give us the money to help them make it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the audience is getting it. And I don't really know like why Shenmue is the thing it is, but I really think it's the thing it is because it was the first thing to be this.
Yes.
Is really what it comes down
100%.
to.
100%.
Like Yakuza is the thing that took this and ran with it and perfected it, really, is in my opinion.
Yeah.
But Shenmue is still the underdog who started it all.
There are 7 main Yakuza games.
Yes.
And one of them came out like last year.
Yes.
So
and there's a lot of spin-offs.
And there's like 3 or 4 spin-offs. This game is the 3rd one, and like the second one was an original Xbox game. So I don't know.
And it took this long to get this one out.
But you know what, Michael? Here's the thing. I didn't have a Dreamcast. I didn't play this when it first came out. I only ever played the remaster, and I didn't really like it all that much. But you know what? I can imagine when there weren't Yakuza games and you had a Dreamcast and you played this game and you were like, oh my God, I've never seen anything like this before. You got to wait until it's 4 p.m. and you were a kid or you were younger and you weren't yet like, I don't have time to wait around for 7 o'clock to happen and play your bad fighting game. Like I could just play Tekken if I want to play your fighting game, right? If you played that and you played the second one and you were at an age where you didn't mind driving the forklift a bunch, right? Then like I can imagine you being in a position in your life where you're like, I really want to see what happens at the end of this story. I'm glad this is getting made. Doesn't appeal to me, but then everything has to appeal to everybody.
I'm actually just more happy that people are finally getting Shenmue 3.
Yeah.
And I'm actually curious as to what people are going to think.
I'm going to be looking at those Metacritic scores. We got a real brief, we got a Google Stadia trailer for Watch Dogs Legion that kind of showed us a little bit more of Watch Dogs Legion. It's interesting. I was looking at the various things that, the various traits that the individual characters have. And they're a little bit more nuanced than I thought they were going to be. Like, there's this one guy who is like a kind of just a jock guy in a bar who's like a brawler, and he gets 50% damage reduction if he's drunk.
Yeah.
And then there's like this lawyer with 25% automatic release from jail. There's like this guy who used to be a soldier who's like totally just this machine gun toting old man. But then his trait is that like he may just die. He may just to get too old and die.
That's amazing.
Randomly. And I'd assume you didn't watch this trailer.
I did not.
But like everybody in the game, you can recruit them and you can develop them into different things. And it really looks like they're doing a good job on this. Like as long as this isn't a lie, as long as they deliver and it's not a Ubisoft lie, which has happened, I'm cool with it because the idea of not having a main character and kind of going around, like I've been a fan of that conceit in a video game for a while now. So the idea of, putting together a group of people that are your little team that make you feel like you made your own team as opposed.
You can go full red on this and just have a bunch of old people.
The thing is that when I played Watch Dogs 2, I found it really interesting to play fully non-lethal. And it with as many gadgets as possible. So, like, when I got to the end of Watch Dogs 2, I put all of my points into the 2 drones. So I would just go to the building, and then I would just go outside, sit down, open up my laptop, and then the drones did everything. I never did anything. And I kind of want to do that. I kind of want to just be like stealth hacker and not have any of this shooting machine guns or whatever. But yeah, I mean, they show you can kind of customize your characters, which of course you can, and you can, recruit new characters. And again, they, like they talked about at E3, you can surrender, you can go to jail, they can do missions to get your guy out of jail.
Yeah.
Maybe. It looks cool. I am really interested in this game. As long as it's not lying, as long as it's not a lie, then I'm interested.
It's super ambitious. Like the first Watch Dogs was really ambitious, and I'm excited to see how it plays out.
The first one was ambitious, but it didn't deliver. But this one looks like it's ambitious, and it would, because the second one did deliver, and then everything Ubisoft has made since then I don't care about. So this is like the one game that I want to play that they're making.
Good on Ubisoft for continually like making more Watch Dogs games, though.
Yeah. Speaking of good on ya, we got a Predator trailer. We got the Predator Hunting Grounds trailer.
Oh boy, this trailer.
So, okay, I'm just gonna say right now, are you as disappointed as I am by the fact that all these are just generic Marine guys instead
of I am.
Instead of the guys from Predator, instead of Dutch and Billy and Shane Black and all the guys.
And every time I look at it, it makes me sadder.
Why?
Because it just doesn't really look all that good. It doesn't look like it's going to be a good game.
I don't know. It's by the people that made that the Friday the 13th game, which was pretty decent. But I mean, it looks like there's like a PvE element where your squad of 4 guys are going up against because that was in the movie, right? When they assault the rebels or whatever to rescue the guys. That was like the whole thing.
Also, the frame rate on just this
on the trailer
the trailer itself is kind of weird. Like the comments for this video are amazing, by the way.
Yeah,
where they're just like, "There's not actually a camo. It's just that the frame rates just make it impossible to see them." And another one was like, "I can't wait to get this PS2 game." Was another one that I saw.
Yeah,
I don't know. It could be fun, but who knows? Like, it doesn't look great so far.
Hard to say. I don't know why they haven't just made a single player Predator game. Like, I don't know. It just seems like. It's like Metal Gear, but you're a Predator.
I'd play that, though. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. From there, we got a very brief teaser for Man of Medan, which is coming out next week, this Friday, coming Friday, where there's a it's like a sunken German sunken German U-boat or something, or lost boat, and then a bunch of teenagers are on it.
Yes.
I don't know why.
Because teenagers love just fucking sneaking on things for some reason.
Yeah, and there's like one shot of a scary lady. I'm still interested in Man of Medan.
It could be good.
Except for the fact that that company has made a bunch of duds since then. Like there was the murder mystery one, and there was the VR one, and there was the other VR one, but hopefully they're going back to their Until Dawn roots. We'll see. Trailer. We got another trailer for Remothered Broken Porcelain. I don't know if you know what Remothered is.
I do not.
It was an indie game that Amanda and I played a little while back, where it was like, you remember those old what were they, like Konami games where like Clock Tower or Haunting Ground, where you had to run away and hide?
Yeah, from like
guy
with the giant scissors,
motherfucker,
Bam.
Right? It was like that, except like you looked like Jodie Foster, kinda.
Yeah.
You go into this weird house, and then this guy would chase you around, and you'd have to like avoid him and stuff. This one seems like it's a little girl, and then there's not a lot going on in this trailer. It's kind of a mirror, and behind the mirror, there's like a weird spooky guy. I do have to say, though, Michael, I might have to give the special 2019 Rage Select Award to Remothered for the worst title, because Broken Porcelain is just a poop joke. Broken Porcelain is what happens after I go to Taco Bell, motherfucker. Like, why would you put the word porcelain in your title? Like, yeesh.
Because it means delicate, I think, or something, perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to defend something that makes no sense.
Yeah. We got another trailer for Disaster Report 4, which is weird. It seems like there's a lot more like surviving after the event than I originally anticipated. I kind of thought it was just going to be like a series of trying to escape all this chaos, as opposed to like, having all these weird Mass Effect relationships with people and like looking for this guy's brother or buying water from some asshole or
kind of dressed like a Whataburger worker.
Yeah. Well, apparently there's some kind of character creator, right? Like, I don't know. Less interesting with this trailer because this trailer's just talking to people. Like, there's no actual disasters going on here.
Well, it's the aftermath of the disaster.
Right. I don't care about that part. I care about the part where everything's like exploding and blowing up.
Well, did you ever watch Superman Doomsday? It's kind of like that.
Okay.
Because in Superman Doomsday, there's the big, awesome battle, and then you watch Lois be sad for like an hour.
Oh.
It's kind of like that part of it, the part that no one cares about.
Yeah.
But it could be interesting if done well.
Speaking of things that I do care about, Empire of Sin is looking pretty saucy. Did you watch the trailer for this one?
I did not. I planned on it.
Okay, this is weird. Do you know what this game is?
It's like an XCOM-y kind of thing.
It's an XCOM style gangster game set in like the 1920s. 1. 2, it's based on a book. 3, it's a John Romero game.
Which is crazy to me.
And I think I read a thing where he said that he made it because his daughter is a huge fan of the books that this is based off of. But yeah, it's like an alternative like 1920s world where you put together a group of kind of toughy toughs running around doing stuff. It looks pretty good, man. I like an XCOM style game, and I like the 1920s, so yeah, put them together. See what you got.
That's a great idea for this kind of time frame, because a lot of games try to do this time frame.
Yeah,
they're like want to be like this sort of shooter kind of thing. It just doesn't work.
Mafia 2.
Yeah, it just doesn't work as well sometimes because of the limitations of that era.
Right.
But if you do something like this, I feel like it has a much more fun idea.
It's just very creative, is what it is.
Yeah.
So, all right. From there. We got a trailer for something that is actually I'm more excited for than I would have originally thought, and that is the Final Fantasy VIII remaster.
Which is crazy to me, by the way.
So here's the thing. I've never really been a big fan of Final Fantasy VIII because I don't like the battle system, but you can turn off random battles and max out your characters. Also, unlike Final Fantasy VII, the actual character models look pretty good because they didn't split them between the super deformed version and then like the regular version.
Yes.
They were always like a regular looking version. So when they up-res them, they actually all look good across the board. Like 8 was always a better looking game than 7 anyway, right? Like it was better looking because it came later on. So I feel like they had more to work with. So I don't know, I'm thinking maybe I'll go play a Final Fantasy game where I don't do any random encounters. All I do is boss battles and play that triple triad game or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, that thing.
But I don't know. Did you play 8?
I did. And at the time, I wasn't a big fan of it because it was pretty much right after 7.
Right.
And then as I got older, I still didn't like it all that much.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of gameplay mechanics in it that just didn't work as well.
So that's why I'm thinking, hey, cool, I can skip all those. Like I could just play the story because I still don't know what happened in the story.
The story, that's the other thing, is the story is really confusing.
Yeah.
It involves, sometimes it involves time travel and, weird flying ships in different ways. Like, you start off in a school that's, teaching you how to be, a badass fighter kind of thing.
I remember that part.
And then and then eventually you flee in the school by making fly. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
But the issue, like I said, there's a lot of gameplay mechanics that didn't work too well. I wasn't a big fan of the way you get certain summons is that you have to do specific things against some bosses to get that summon.
Yeah.
So I kept dying trying to get this one summon one time, which just frustrated me to no end. And it was that was 3 hours into the game, by the way. There's a card game too. It's very weird.
The problem that I had was that the game was so aggressive in its level scaling that you never felt like you were making any progress, right?
Exactly.
You get more powerful, the enemies get more powerful. You get more powerful, the enemies get more powerful. So it's always the same kind of challenge. But I don't know. It's funny too because I just went back and listened to the Watch Out for Fireballs guys talk about go through all Final Fantasy VII, and I forgot how convoluted the plot to Final Fantasy VII is.
7 is super convoluted.
It kind of made me want to go back and be like, actually, if they don't stick slavishly to the original 7 plot and they streamline it a little bit better in the remake, I might actually be interested in that because. I kind of knew the overplot, but I kind of forgot about a lot of the individual stuff that happens.
There's a lot of individual things that people forget exists in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
But there's just as much that people remember way more fondly than they should.
Yeah. Let's see. From there, we got a trailer for Blasphemous, which is that weird Dark Souls 2D Castlevania platformer thing that got kickstarted a while back that I actually... contributed to. John and I played the style alpha or whatever it was for it, but it has release date now. Looks good. Looks weird and gory and 2D pixel Dark Souls.
Interesting.
The guy's got the big pointy helmet. The setup for it was interesting too. Kind of a whole there was a weird thing going on with religion in that world. But September 10th, that's coming out. So soon, very soon.
Very, very soon.
Someone dragged out Dan Aykroyd and splashed some cold water in his face to do a 40-second promo for Ghostbusters.
No, I guarantee you he recorded this himself and then sent it to them. Is probably what actually happened. Because Dan Aykroyd loves talking about Ghostbusters because he's also actually really into the paranormal.
Okay.
I love this trailer because it's just makes me more excited for it because I can't say no to Dan Aykroyd when it comes to things.
It's so weird because it's you didn't need a celebrity testimonial, I don't think.
Like I said, I bet you he made this himself.
Yeah.
He called a Ghostbusters fan group and was like, "Let me in Ecto 1 and I got to record this real quick and send it to somebody."
Yeah.
All that stuff is his actual stuff probably.
It's really strange. But hey, you know what? The game's coming out October 4th, so not too long.
No, not too long, and I'm super duper excited.
Month and a half. Yeah. I'll tell you what I'm not super duper excited for. They're bringing back Comanche.
What?
So back in the old days, Comanche was a helicopter game, and it was one of the first games that was made with voxels, right? So voxels are
Gesundheit.
It's like a instead of a pixel, it's like a cube, right?
Oh,
so you
those
can use them
things.
to make like terrain, right?
Yeah.
Generate terrain. And it was, at the time, incredible looking. Well, they're bringing Comanche back as a 4v4 multiplayer online thing.
That's interesting.
With drones and helicopter powers, and I could care less.
Unless it has an Airwolf skin, no deal.
Yeah. I'm waiting for bring Choplifter back. That's what I'm waiting for. Or you know what? No. Jungle Strike.
Jungle Strike?
Or Desert Strike. You remember those on the Genesis?
Oh, yeah.
The isometric helicopter games?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Oh, those games were rad.
My cousin had it a lot, and I watched him play it every now and then.
Let's see. I'm doing this. We're out of time. The Waylanders official cinematic. This is like from some of the spinoff guys from Dragon Age. This Injection Pi 23 game came out this week, which is actually out now. It's kind of it's a very weird game because it's like a survival horror game, but then your main character is like got this weird black hoodie on. Like it's kind of got some interesting looking like monster stuff.
Yeah,
but it's also very dark and very like epileptic.
It's hard to look at. Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe at some point we'll take a look at it because it literally came out this week. So, but the weird thing is that your character has a very dark jacket with a black hood on, and it kind of makes your character look like a evil guy. But it's got some interesting iconography going on in it. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure it's interesting enough.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. It's hard to look at.
It is hard to look at.
Oh, Jesus.
And last but not least, on the trailer front, we got a trailer for Mountain Blade 2, Bannerlord. I was actually watching this. I feel like I think we saw Chivalry 2 at the PC Game Show.
Oh yeah.
This is another one of those online, kind of medieval multiplayer games. I think Mountain Blade's mostly multiplayer.
I'm not sure on that one.
I'm always kind of confused why this seems to be like this style of game seems to be the realm of indie developers. Where there's no I guess For Honor is kind of a thing, but there's this and like Mordhau and Chivalry and like all these kind of like indie online FPS medieval games. I feel like somebody else should get in on that, but I don't know. Looks good. Looks like one. All right, let's talk about a couple quick things, and then we're going to wrap it up. Hey, in case you didn't know, the Yakuza Remastered Collection is starting to be out. Sega decided to put this out in a weird way. So basically, for $60, you have to buy the front end for all three of Yakuza 3, 4, and 5. They, as near as I can tell, do not sell them individually.
Yeah.
So it's $60 for all three of them. Yakuza 3 was out last week. Probably Dojo on that coming up. Yakuza 4 comes out in October. Yakuza 5 comes out in February. The physical release of all of them comes out in February. As I played Yakuza 3, it's not like super remastered, but one of the things that they did do was they took a lot of the cut like Hostess bar content and put it back in.
Oh, okay.
Because the time when Yakuza 3 came out, they're really worried that American audiences would be like, oh, what is this? Sexy ladies. Gangnam Style. So that's it. Go buy it. I mean, right now they also have a pack on the PlayStation 3 that's $60 for Yakuza 0, Yakuza 1, Yakuza Kiwami 1, Yakuza Kiwami 2.
Uh-huh.
So technically, if you bought Yakuza 6 at full price for $180, you could get all 7 Yakuza games. They're not all out yet, but if you start playing Yakuza 0 now, by the time you get through 3, they will all be out. I swear to you.
It's kind of amazing.
It's a long game. And then you can play 3, 4, 5, 6, and you can see the entire story of Kiryu Kazama, greatest protagonist of all time.
You can also buy their Fist of the North Star game and just use the Kiryu outfit.
Boo.
Just make it a weird alternate reality.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 dated their first release pack, Curse of the Vampire, which is coming September 30th. And it's going to have Blade and Moon Knight and Punisher and Morbius.
Yes, it's Morbius.
Not Mobius.
Mobius is a singer?
Mobius is the artist.
Oh, wait, yes.
Yes.
And then Moby is the other one. And then there's Morpheus, and that's a whole other thing.
Yes. We're talking about the vampire from Marvel Comics.
Yes. Who's going to get his own movie, question mark?
It seems like the least interesting character to make a movie about.
It's very strange.
Like one of the least interesting characters that ever existed in
he
the
only
history.
makes sense with Blade, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man.
They said that they're putting out that Moon Knight series.
Yes, they announced the Moon Knight series recently.
Which Moon Knight's a real wackadoo. I read some of the Warren Ellis Moon Knight. That was weird.
He's
weird.
very strange, but if you ever ask Bo about it, he will tell you all the good ones to read. The same with, I think, Randy.
Okay.
Both of them really like Moon Knight.
Hey, where we were talking about Epic Game Store exclusives? Well, that
was the Punisher and Epic Game Store exclusive?
Yes. You know how a lot of those exclusives were timed?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? In December, Hades is going to be released on Steam because it's been a year since they put it out, the Supergiant Games game.
Oh, shit. Yeah, it has been, hasn't it?
Yeah. So December 10th of this year, Hades is coming to Steam. If you have not played Hades, Hades is amazing. Hades is incredible. I love Hades a lot.
We played that when it first was just randomly dropped.
Yep.
In an announcement somewhere
on the Epic Game Store. I think it was during E3, wasn't it?
I think so.
No, pre-E3.
Maybe it was Gamescom. I don't know. It's the same time frame.
Yeah, it had to be last year.
Yeah.
No, but it had to be like December of last year because it was probably like a year-long exclusive.
Oh, that's right. It was announced somewhere, and I was hanging out with you, and they were like, it was out today, and then we're like, we're doing this right now. And we did Dojo literally right after that.
Yeah, it's a really fun game. It's a really fun little hack and slash.
And then I played it for an hour, and I got really far.
Yeah, I actually got to the point where I haven't played it since then, but I got to the second level. You get past the boss, the end of the first set of levels, and then I actually even beat the second level, and then it was just that's as much of the game as we made. Go back.
Yeah.
You come back later.
Murder more people. Okay, cool.
So, but
it's really fun.
Hades is really fun. It's got so much character. It's so cool. And hey, if you're mad that it's on the Epic Game Store in December, you'll be able to get it on Steam. So
exactly.
All right, couple things quick just for fun. Dragon Quest XI has a demo on the Switch right now. Apparently, the Switch version has an option you could turn on to have the NPCs lie to you about where things are.
Seriously?
Yep. It's called Talkin' Townsfolk Talk Tripe. Apparently, if you go to the church in Dragon Quest, there's a whole bunch of modifiers that you can turn on called Draconian Quest settings. That include no shopping, no armor, reduced XP, all enemies are super strong, party wiped out if protagonist perishes, stuff to make the game harder if you want to.
Yeah.
And one of those options is townspeople will lie to you.
That's amazing.
So if you're like JRPGs are too easy, well, there you go.
They can lie to you.
It's got you covered. And last but certainly not least, you know how they like to mod stuff on the PC? Well,
yes.
Apparently the PC Witcher community has put Henry Cavill's face onto Geralt if you want to play the PC version of The Witcher 3 with Henry Cavill instead of Geralt's
Of course
face.
they did.
Which the better part is that the guy who was Doug Cockle, who was the voice actor for Geralt, quoted on Twitter, let's just get this straight. I don't give a rat's hairy buttocks about the Henry Cavill face on the game, Geralt. They left my glorious performance captured biceps and pecs alone. Thank goodness, and that's all I care about. So,
the voice actor for it?
Yeah, for Geralt.
That's amazing.
And that's it. We're done. We're done. This is the longest podcast that's ever existed.
It's pretty long.
Actually, I think it's just about a little over 2 hours. Not that much longer than a normal one. It's just there was so much news and trailers and stuff, and we had to do it so late because I didn't have a chance to watch all million trailers.
There's a lot of stuff, guys.
Hey, if you got to the end of this podcast and you like it, do me a favor. Share it. Share it out on Facebook or Twitter. The numbers on the podcast are garbage these days. Apparently, people just don't like it as much. And it does kind of take quite a while.
Because we're not their friends or whatever. Devs
yeah.
And such, or whatever.
You keep saying that we're not their friends. I'm your friend. I'm not trying to make money. I didn't even say anything about patreon.com/.
That's the gag, though. It's I don't hate you people at all. We can all be friends. Just don't be weird about things is really what it comes down to.
Yeah. Well, also, Michael, you're new. I've been reading comments talking about how bad I am for 8 years now.
It hurts a little bit when somebody is like, you guys are the worst. I'm just like, come on, guys. We record this right after I get out of work sometimes. My mind's not always working.
Yeah. Anyway, mail@rage.com is the email address. Send us some questions in. I swear to God, normally we answer questions in the second half instead of doing double news, but this was just too big of a week. And Michael, where can they find you when you're not here?
You can sometimes find me on oneofus.net.
All right, there you go. And with that, we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to go wait for that Star Wars trailer. It's going to be 5 minutes after we're done. I'm just going to be punching myself in the dick. It's probably online right now.
I'm going to check now, actually.